Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am back again with another The Amazing Digital Circus episode. Can you tell that I'm scared for this one, both for what's going to happen and also for the runtime of this video, keeping my future editing self in mind because that was rough. I can't explain to you how last episode became so long, but I think it can be boiled down to the fact that those specific character dynamics are my favorite to dissect, and dissect I did endlessly, and I had some of the most fun maybe ever. So I've just been so excited to get into this next episode, but also nervous because this is the episode everyone's built up for me. Since maybe episode 2 or 3, when I started making some comments about archetypes and just a few other things that people specifically flagged, like timestamped, like think of this for episode 6 or you're going to enjoy episode 6. So I'm very keen to find out what all the fuss is about. And again, as early as episode 2 or 3, people were already giving some slight instruction about this episode not having subtitles on, for one, in order to not spoil something. The timing's a bit off or something, and if subtitles are on, the timing doesn't hit you as intended, maybe. And also that there's a specific scene that apparently I'll know when I get to it that I shouldn't pause during, which is not my usual MO because so many things happen in even a single scene, and my bloody ADHD brain is not going to remember those things. If I have this thought and this thought and this thought and this thought throughout the scene, even if I go back and rewatch the scene again, I might mention one or two of those things, but I will forget something really poignant that I wanted to mention. So that is predominantly why I pause when I need to get a thought out urgently, but I will try this episode in particular because it was specifically mentioned that you need to let like one scene in particular play out. I'm not sure if I'll know when I get to it, so maybe I'll be cautious, but yeah, I'll see. That actually might even make the runtime a lot shorter because I'll forget what I wanted to say, but it's what's been requested, so I'll try my best and follow that. But of course, in honor of another TADC episode, I actually have my teapot here for some tea, or rather some mate, but in a teapot, because it's a vaguely similar shape as the teapot in the show, calling back to that, one of the first three-dimensional shapes made. So I thought it was only appropriate to have my teapot for this episode, especially since we might be here a while, which, if there is a drastic change in lighting, be forewarned, I have my birthday dinner tonight, so if I don't finish filming in time, I will finish up when I get home. But yeah, enough stalling. I am procrastinating starting this episode, but I am as ready as I'll ever be. So let's get into episode 6 of The Amazing Digital Circus. All right, let's go.
Today's adventure is brought to you by the Favorite Character Awards.
Oh!
Stay tuned and find out who will claim the ultimate prize.
I remember this. I don't know if it was current at the time. I don't think it was. It was the paint one. But when you guys told me about the Wacky Watch website, and I went back to visit some of the pages in the Wayback Machine. Internet Archive? No, I think it was the Wayback Machine. This was one of the things. I couldn't really interact with it much, but I remember the Favorite Character Awards being a more recent one. So I was wondering if that was actually like a fan voting thing or whether it was in reference to an episode. So I mean, maybe both, but I guess this is my answer.
Ultimate prize.
I wonder who's gonna get it.
Can you toss that back up here?
No. We're not doing this from the start, from so early on. Oh, okay, I was about to just move on after getting that giggly energy out, but I mean, it hasn't failed me yet. I'm sure it will eventually, but I think the cold open strat is proving to be somewhat effective in kind of encapsulating either what happens throughout or what happens at the very end. Something early on anyway. So either we're going to end with the Favorite Character Awards, or, I mean, I'm barely like 30 seconds in. Oh, I'm exactly 30 seconds in. Fun. So the thematic culmination might not have been on screen yet, but if it was just up to now, I'd say the favourite character awards are maybe going to be kind of bookending the episode, or it's going to be a focus on maybe Pomni and Jax as a dynamic. I mean, if last episode's opening was anything to go off of, we saw Pomni, Ragatha and Jax kind of having that initial interaction, and obviously the dynamic between the three of them was rather important last episode. So given the fact that they're walking rather close, looking down and up at each other, Pomni's little hands are behind her back, this is the most like kind of schoolgirl I've seen her. It's very cute, to be honest. But not like Bonnie and Clyde, but this is kind of giving me the partners in crime energy that I was thinking of, because they both look a little coy. I don't know, I eat this shit up, you guys. So all I can hope that this means we're gonna get a little bit more of it this episode in some form or another. Or it could mean that one of them's the favourite character.
Can you toss
Zubul?
that back up here?
Making good use of your parts gimmick, huh?
Oh, shut up.
What are you doing up there?
I'm hiding.
I swear, nary an episode goes by that Pomni and I don't sync up on a line. I can't deal with that. I mean, it's a fair question, what are you doing up there? But just this is getting concerning, because I've synced up with Pomni and Jax a few times. God, who's next? But no, I wonder what they are doing up there.
I'm hiding from Kane.
Again?
I overheard him talking to Bubble about an in-house adventure.
Oh no.
I'm not gonna be part of it.
And you're just gonna hang out in a flower pot all day? Not like your room?
Kane's been checking up on my room lately. When I don't answer, he just starts singing Daisy Bell in front of my door. It's creepy.
Does he really do that?
I don't know. Let's ask him. Hey, Kay!
Oh no.
Fucking asshole.
Yes, Jax?
Oh, vroom vroom. Okay, I feel like there is a lot of favoritism going on here. I feel like maybe it's just because they're not as involved in the adventures and he wants them to be involved. But I feel like Zubul is definitely Kane's favorite, because he could just, like in the last couple of episodes, summon them, couldn't he? So the fact that he like hangs out outside their door, I mean, obviously he knows they're in there at that point if he's out singing in front. But I know Zubul's cussing Jax out for that now, which, yeah, not a nice move there, alerting Kane to their presence. But I don't know how effective hiding in a flower pot would be when Kane can literally summon them from anywhere. Maybe he's trying to play nice, or maybe they're just, you know, trying a new hiding spot to see if there's any blind spots, or I don't know. But yeah, Kane zooming towards them was not something I wanted to see. That was very unsettling.
Look, it's Zubul.
You!
Ah, there you are. Now I
The
don't have to
eyes.
do the snap summon thing.
You
And
did.
I'm glad I found you. We
You
need to
did
even
anyway.
numbers, 'cause today's adventure is a team adventure.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, no, no. Don't want that. Never want that. Honestly, it's almost giving Celestial at this point with the amount of eyes we're working with. But yeah, please never show me that again. Please.
Adventure.
Even numbers for a team
You guys
adventure.
up on the stage in,
Oh.
let's say 5.7 minutes.
Wait, I swear, if I clocked it and the cold open was hinting at an eventual Pomni and Jax teaming up in this adventure, or maybe it's a red herring. Maybe they're making you think that's what's going to happen and she ends up with Zubul or something. I don't know. But oh, if that's true, that's crazy. But also it's just good writing. So I appreciate, this is why I like well done mysteries as well, and why I hate terribly written mysteries. Like, there's a certain prolific mystery thriller author who just churns out book after book after book, and they're terrible because they're praised as like, oh, you'll never guess the ending. And it's like, yeah, because it's not set up in any way. It just happens and the crumbs weren't there, and there's no point in that kind of mystery. Because the fun is that even if you don't pick up the pieces and guess it, if you think back, you're like, oh my God, it was right in front of us the whole time. That's the fun, right? So that's why I enjoy and am decent at picking up on things, because my, I don't know, pattern recognition go brr. Sometimes you read into things that don't have a lot of intentionality to them, but sometimes you do catch little hints as well, which make putting pieces together a bit easier and very, very fun to do. Anyway, let's find out what we're teaming up for.
Meet you guys up at the stage in, let's say 5.7 minutes.
5.7. I hope Zubul and Gangle
Great.
team up.
You didn't even ask him about the singing thing.
The what?
Oh yeah, that's why they summoned
Today's
him.
adventure is
Shit.
gonna be a bit of a short one due to the Favorite Character Awards.
Ooh,
But it'll be a perfect opportunity to showcase your guys' strengths to the press.
Buff Kane.
This is so heavy.
That's right, Bubble. Seeing you all play bat-ball a few days ago really got
Bat-ball?
me thinking we should do our own sporting event. But
Golf?
cool
What is he
new
doing?
Sports invented by yours truly.
Help me, Kane.
We could
Help
also
me,
just-
Kane. What? Oh, I've never heard Bubble sound so defeated. That tiny, tiny little voice. Help me, Kane.
Could also just play softball normally this time.
Yeah.
In the
Ooh.
Cane Leagues, we have
Brought to you by
400
Wacky
meter
Watch.
vertical skedaddle, bisection boogie egg ball, lateral hijinks, orange sport, ball run,
What?
walk ball, run walk, and ball. These
All
sports
bowling
are
balls?
surely going to...
Yeah, sorry. No, I'm not gonna be on a team with that one.
Zubul, why does all you do is complaining? I never know what you want.
We had a whole suggestion box for that.
Yeah, Zubul and I constantly say we like more chill and relaxing adventures.
Did you really not like my softball one?
I'm not big into sports, sorry.
Okay, we get a little examination into Zubul's outfit here. Or, not outfit, like, piece, you know what I mean. Then you get up. And although I'm partial to the Batwing, I am enjoying that. I still, I don't know, the duck foot was a big one for me, and the wheel. I feel like we kind of struck gold there. I don't mind what we're working with here, but I would like to see a return of the duck foot. But yeah, now that we're talking about the suggestion box, and I mean, I like it when Pomni and Zubul are kind of on a team like this, because they both have quite similar character essences, I think. I mean, Pomni pairs up so well with everyone, but I feel like through that she's able to show different sides of herself, and none of them are fake, like they're all different facets of her, but she can ease into those different facets when she's with people who bring that out in her. And yeah, I like that they are both kind of interested in the more chill adventures, though I don't think that's always the case. I mean, I think in comparison to some adventures, Pomni's probably being honest about that here, but as we learn more about her, and like, you know, she was an urban explorer, likes the thrill of that, I think she does like the more high-octane adventures, or she could like them, but I think there just needs to be a distinct lack of horror and trauma involved, like those previous experiences. Or maybe she only likes to really have thrilling adventures if it's on her terms, and maybe she's not like a thrill fan in general, but she doesn't mind dabbling in it in a controlled environment. But this was also such an interesting moment because, I mean, if you think back to the suggestion box, I wonder if the reason Ragatha was teaching Gangle softball, or to pitch anyway, is because she was hoping they would get to go on her adventure that she suggested, which is nice that she put something in the suggestion box, especially for one of her character. It can often be hard, which I guess an anonymous suggestion box makes it a bit easier, but this is exactly why it's hard, because you can either suggest something that maybe you don't really like but you think everyone else will like, or you can suggest something that you really want to do but it's not going to please everyone, and that's kind of a hard line to walk when you're very focused on people pleasing. And I didn't mention this a lot last episode. I mentioned enough, but I didn't mention many times how strongly I identify with Ragatha a lot of the time. And if it ever feels like I'm being harsh on her, which I do, as I said last episode, try and temper and, you know, have a thorough analysis and not criticize her inherently. But I know some people thought I was too hard on her, which that's fair if that's how it came across. But if anything, it's because I see a little too much of myself in her. So it's easier to unpack those things in rather a criticizing someone else kind of way, sort of analytically looking at it as if at myself from more of a bird's eye view. So it's extremely in character for her to, just from that one tiny interaction, her saying, oh, like, can we just do normal softball? All Pomni had to do was go, like, oh, not really keen on that idea. she's probably been stewing on it, waiting for the opportunity to come over and ask this. And it's so sad. Like, you really didn't enjoy the adventure I suggested. But also that gives more layers to last episode, with Pomni sort of giving up the opportunity to bat, and how I was thinking it was either maybe she was trying to help Ragatha, maybe she did want to stay on the bench with Jax, or maybe somewhere in the middle she's just not that into sports, as she said. So maybe she did kind of want to just chill on the bench and chat with Jax, and that was more fun than going up to bat in that moment. So maybe it was part of the intentionality, but obviously not the whole driving force behind it. Maybe it was a little bit of everything. And I again appreciate Pomni here, because she is not rude or mean, but she does say it like it is, and she says it gently, but she doesn't sugarcoat it. Just an honest, yeah, I'm not really into sports, sorry. Because if that was me, I might qualify it like, no, don't. Like, it was fun. I'm like not the biggest into sports, so you know, maybe next time, like, it's not my thing. But no, like, don't worry about it. You know, I wouldn't want to hurt their feelings, but sometimes it's a little much. I appreciate Pomni's directness here.
Sorry.
The suggestion box just causes interpersonal drama, and me no likey.
All right, you really want to know what I want?
Oh no.
I want the ability to have sex.
No way. Are we finally having this conversation?
Zubul saying what everyone's thinking. But no, that's so interesting. Jack saying, are we finally having this conversation, makes me think that it's been a discussion, or mentioned amongst them at least, maybe not having a discussion with Kane about it, but it's definitely, it's either been mentioned before, or it's been the elephant in the room of like, not mentioning it. But Zubul, okay. It's probably them just saying that as, you know, a pie in the sky thing, especially if Kane is this AI entity isn't really, they don't have that on the brain necessarily, or the code rather. So I wonder if that is Zubul just messing with him and thinking of something that he would not go for at all, or whether it actually is maybe it's both. They actually would be open to that. I wonder who they'd be gunning for. But quickly before I move on, I think it's it's also intentional. I really like the way Ragatha moves, because it's very uncertain, very unsure, kind of like shoulders in sometimes, moving quite, not delicately, but lacking a distinct sure-footedness. And then the constant self-soothing and fidgeting, always like holding her own hands, which I do a lot, or like holding onto herself in some capacity like that. The posture of each character, especially in this frame, it's very telling for how that kind of expresses in their own personality as well.
No way.
Jax's
Are we
face.
finally having this conversation?
Yeah, it's broken his brain.
Oh, hi, Zubul.
Do you have any of that
Did he
stupid sauce
reboot?
left?
The stupid sauce.
Oh yeah, how teamwork is essential to making the dream work.
Tell that to him. He's the one that fucks everything all the time.
You are in a mood today, aren't you?
Now, you know what they say about assuming. It makes an ass out of you and Ming.
Ming?
I mean, when you think about it, obviously it's not a revelation to say. I was about to kind of refute it, not because I don't think Zub was accurate, but because I was like, surely it's not just, wait. Because other than Gangle with the whole mask debacle, I feel like teamwork does kind of bloom anytime Jax is not present. Pomni and Gummigoo, God rest his soul, worked well together in the asset layer to get out. Pomni and Kinga worked well together in the Mildenhall Manor episode. Actually, I feel like it only really works out when Pomni's involved. I mean, Zubul and Ragatha maybe would have had better teamwork in episode 4 if the stupid sauce hadn't struck. But we do see that from Zubul as well, you know, wanting to help Ragatha home, Pomni with Gangle. But then it does kind of fall apart, because I was going to say in the Mildenhall Manor episode, the others also get along well because Jax is tied up. So I was like, you know what, that is true. But also again, last episode with the stargazing, like he's not causing chaos when he's having those almost insular teamwork, even if it's just sort of in the mind or in the interaction and not actually being a team in an adventure or activity. He's not causing chaos then, which makes me think maybe he, sticks a wrench in the works of other people's teamwork because he doesn't really have, I don't know, a partner in crime or like someone that he gets along with in that way. But maybe it's like that because he pushes people away. There's so much to speculate on because Zubal's not wrong saying that he's kind of the only one, fucking things up on the adventures and is maybe the one that needs the most team building, as we saw last episode. I think if anyone could make that work, it's Pomni. And I think she's trying. I really do think she's actively trying to. I don't think she's just going along with the flow. I think maybe at first it was because he was kind of approaching her, obviously with his own ulterior motives and everything. But again, she takes things at face value. She sees through the bullshit, but she also, approaches things with a general positive, like, okay, I'll take this at face value. Even if you're not being sincere, I choose to treat it as if you might be, which is part of why I really like their dynamic. But I do feel like towards the end of last episode, maybe after the glimpses that we saw into kind of what he's gone through or potentially past stuff, I think maybe that sparked more of an interest in her to maybe break some of those walls down. For me, it all kind of comes back to that first talk with Gummy Goo and then the talk with Kinga about community and making people not feel alone. I think she's really taken that on board. And I mean, that's how I see it. Maybe she is just talking to people who talk to her, but I think now she's been making an effort. I don't know. I guess we'll see at some point. Ming.
Ming?
Did Kane just say
Oh, it wasn't
Hi,
censored.
I'm Ming, and I really don't appreciate what your assumptions have done to my reputation.
You made a whole guy for that?
Whatever the case, it's evident now that there's quite a bit of tension between you all. So maybe what we actually need to do are trust exercises.
I am not falling into Jax's arms if that's...
Okay, one, that's crazy. I did not even think about that. I did not catch that it wasn't censored when Kane said, my Australian accent. I was going to say when Kane said ass, because contrary to popular belief, when we see ass written, like assuming, that is asshole to us. We don't spell it with A-R-S-E. I mean, that is more of a British thing, technically, but that's just how we say it. It's like if I saw mum spelled M-O-M, I wouldn't say mom. I would still say mum. And same thing here. The more you know. But I should have caught that because I actually nearly mentioned something before remembering the discussion from last episode. When Zubal said asshole earlier, when Jax exposed them, I nearly was like, even ass is being censored? But I was like, even damn it or something was being censored, obviously. So I didn't mention it. But I reckon that was specifically put in there, that earlier mention of asshole, to make that really mark a difference. And like the fact that Kane said ass and it was commented on by Pomni, that means something. And actually, I mean, that does make sense because we see the people characters, whenever they swear or say anything really, that comedic, like, censor bar pops up. Whereas in a really early episode, Bubble said something that was beeped and Kane just goes, you can't say that. And I remember commenting like, oh, I guess Bubble actually said it then. Like it was beeped for us, but in the context of that world, it wasn't beeped or censored in any way. So I wonder if this means anything deeper or if it's just really solidifying that AI or people characters can curse and swear and it's like not censored at all, and the players or the characters can't, or whether it means something more. I don't know, but crazy. And Ming, who the fuck? Did he just like conjure this guy out of nowhere, or is he the NPC that we saw at the end of last episode? I presume he wouldn't be, so I feel like maybe Kane would have made a bigger deal of it if that character was discovered. But Ming, I guess, welcome Ming, my new favorite character. I wonder how long he'll be in it for. But also, last interjection from this scene, I promise, but before I forget, the fact that every time teamwork has been brought up, Zubal has immediately mentioned Jax. Immediately. Like, I can't remember the exact context, but earlier in the episode, I think when they were in the flower pot, something about it being, a team up or working on teamwork. And Zubal instantly was like, I'm not working with Jax. And then Jax kind of blew a kiss like, mwah, as another fuck you to Zubal. And then in this scene, instantly, when it comes to trust falls, I am not falling into Jax's arms. And so that makes me think, how many times has Kane tried to force them to get along? Because the fact that both times that was instantly their thought makes me think that Kane's done this before and tried to force them to team up. And I mean, that could be partly maybe why Zubul isn't that keen on some of the adventures. But yeah, that just feels too much of like a big thing for it to just be some coincidental brush off moment, like twice within the span of like a couple of minutes. But yeah, it feels intentional to me that was mentioned.
Not falling into Jax's arms, if that's what you mean.
Don't worry, this will be a two-way trust exercise, where you'll each have to trust each other to not betray the other person. This is a private room where nobody can see or hear you once inside. And this is a loaded gun.
Oh boy.
Character A will take the gun into the private room and empty it out of all its ammunition, then come out and give it to Character B. Character B will
Russian
then
roulette.
take the gun and shoot themselves in the head, trusting that Character A emptied it in the private room. Character A will also have to trust that Character B won't turn the gun on them, so everyone is incentivized to follow the rules and trust each other.
Sounds a little convoluted.
You look convoluted! Anyway, Jax, why don't you
Okay, I don't know if this is a subtle build-up over the course of all of these episodes, as we've seen him slowly break down a little bit and a little bit and a little bit more, or whether the sex mention earlier broke something in him properly, because he is very on edge this episode, more so than usual. I mean, that's barely saying anything, but the overreactions are becoming less few and far between, I think. But also, this is such an odd challenge, and I can't help but feel like the only person that this could benefit in terms of, trust exercise is Jax, because I can't imagine any of the other characters. Actually, I mean, I was about to say I can't imagine any of the other characters needing to do this, because I think all of them would empty out all of the bullets. And I also think that all of them would not turn the gun on the other person, except for Jax, right? But as we talked about last episode, in terms of, the fine line between nice and kind, or why Ragatha's apology towards the end of last episode was so, I think, important, was because it was so interesting, because the one person she can't keep up her very nice sort of veneer around, Jax, is almost the one person that she let it down for with that genuine apology, something she truly felt bad about, which was interesting in the discussion of, people who are being kind, like we see from Pomni sometimes, like they're not going to put up with bullshit necessarily, but they don't often hold seething grudges or, awaiting the chance to unleash some revenge or anything. So when it comes to this scene, or rather this activity, I think that would be a bit of a crucial moment for some of the characters, because pair up almost any pair and I can see there being no issues. And you might think that just Jax would be the problem. Like if he was person A, him not emptying out all the bullets, or if he was person B, trying to shoot the other person, both out of an act of, I don't give a fuck, like I'll shoot you. And also the self-preservation of, I don't, trust you to not have kept it loaded. But whoever the other character is in that scenario, I could see some of them failing the betrayal test. I think Zubul actually would maybe leave some in the gun, or would turn the gun on him. I don't think Kingo would do it maliciously, and maybe if the private room was dark, he definitely wouldn't betray, he'd be more lucid. But we've also seen him very skilled with a gun, based on the horror game episode, so who knows? I feel like Ragatha might, if she was character A, I think maybe she wouldn't empty the gun, but I feel like that's the boldest she would get. I don't think she would actively turn the gun on Jax in this scenario, especially if it was in front of the others. I don't know. And honestly, I don't know what Gangle would do in that scenario. I don't know how much animosity Gangle's harboring towards Jax, but the interesting thing is I don't see Pomni betraying anyone in the group, which is why I love her character so much, because she gives everyone a fair shake of it. And that might not necessarily be fair from the other character's perspective, in terms of maybe it's expecting too much of them if they've been through enough bullshit with Jax. you know, you can't really blame them for wanting to give a little bit back what they've been getting, you know, and I wouldn't hold it against them, but just for the purposes of this exercise, I think it's interesting thinking about every character paired with every character. And that does kind of change my thought on Jax being the only one to need it. It's like, God, I know I bring up The Good Place a lot, but I won't spoil the exact scenario because it's very important and it is quite late into the show, so it would be a huge spoiler in the specifics anyway. But there's a setup where they need characters who maybe are like good people, fairly good people. They need those people to really reflect because they might think they're good people, but maybe they are hurting people around them, or maybe they're flawed, they're human, you know? And they need these people to improve. And with not a lot of time to do it, they're like, okay, let's get these characters to help another character. A character that everyone hates, for good reason, I should add. And the discussion is, well, no, we can't do that. Everyone hates this guy. Like, they're not going to help him. They're going to leave him. We should use this person instead. Everybody loves this person. But that's the point. It's not a hard choice if it's helping this person because people like this person. The hard choice, the thing about moral consistency and, you know, being a good person is, you know, they're not stooping to other people's level. Even if they're someone who hasn't been necessarily kind to you in many moments, and maybe they wouldn't do the same for you. But that's the point. Are you going to help them anyway? And that's a really impactful moment. And that's why it's such a hard decision, which is philosophizing aside. Yeah, I've reflected and I no longer think this exercise is only about Jax. And it's obviously not about being a perfect person, but it's just interesting to kind of get a gauge on each of the characters and how they would react in a situation like this if the person they're paired up with is not the best person in their eyes. It's very interesting. And as always, finding a lot of parallels between this and The Good Place. It's God, watch the show if you haven't, please.
Anyway, Jax, why don't you start?
What, him?
Wait, what am I doing? I wasn't paying attention. Oh.
Or, yeah, we could all just shoot each other.
What the fuck? Whoa. So this brings us back to last episode. Was that him altering Jax's mind? Implanting that knowledge would kind of be affecting his mind, or does it come down to projection again? Like, it's not making him think anything, but it is showing him something, but just internally. I have a lot of thoughts on that. But, and this is maybe benefit of the doubt speaking again, I wonder how effective that was though. Because we they see him go into his mind, Jax being all dazed, his eyes literally doing the swirlies, he's holding a gun, and then he takes Ragatha out on the spot. But I'm wondering how effective what Kane did was. Because, you know, if it was kind of like subliminal messaging type shit, maybe the only bits that stuck out were the scenes of character A and B, like, shooting each other. And so maybe that's why he just did it off rip as soon as coming out of that kind of daze. Or maybe he saw everything, he knows the purpose of what they're doing, but he knows deep down, or believes, because I don't think Pomni would, believes that no matter what pair he's in, he's kind of every man for himself. He thinks that in every scenario, the other person would want him to get shot. So by covering all bases, his solution is to just shoot first, because that's going to be the ultimate result anyway. Or maybe it's just because it's an adventure, it's a game. And I mean, I'm sure he knows that no one's actually going to get hurt, but it's just the way that he did it with such a blank expression on his face. Almost like not taking pleasure in it, but just like rote movement. I don't know, it makes me question how, especially with how loopy we've seen Kane going, kind of losing control. And also not really understanding the player characters in as good a way as he maybe thinks he does. I wonder if this was actually Kane's fault, or whether Jax is just trigger happy. Either which I wouldn't really be surprised, but yeah, just the blank expression kind of makes me rethink that. I love the fluff.
Or, yeah, we could all just shoot each other. Here, have guns. I don't care anymore.
Away!
Wait, that's just...
What? See, that's the thing. He's happy about it now. It's like he was having an out-of-body experience or something before. Weird. But no, I love the little stuffing that comes out of Ragatha. I wonder if each of the characters kind of has a, you know, thematically consistent, like would Kinga burst into wood or something, or would it like crack like wood? I hope I don't have to see it, but interesting.
That's just it? Here's guns and have fun?
I didn't say have fun.
It's just a little aimless.
I mean, if you...
Kane!
Ugh.
Fuck. You guys, I take it back. I take it back. No. I literally said earlier that I've been in sync with like Pomni and Jackson. Like, oh god, I wonder who I'll be in sync with next. No, I don't want to be in sync with Kane. But that's literally, he beat me to it. He cut me off, but I was literally about to say, Zuba, like, that's a little aimless. Thinking similarly, I was like, well, it doesn't have to be, you know, if you aim down the sight, it's going to make a little joke about that and just, what have I become? Oh no. But yeah, he said, I did not say have fun in the most serious voice ever. So that's classic Kane.
The sights.
Kane!
Ugh, fine! We're bringing teams back. Pair up in teams of 2, you all get 3 lives. Last team surviving is the winner. Happy?
Oh no.
Not really.
Not
Well,
really.
that's not my problem right now. I have an awards show to plan, so you guys are gonna have to handle yourselves for a bit. You get 5 minutes to figure the teams out. Once that's
There it
up,
is.
it's a free-for-all.
Free for all. What?
Come on, Sadie. You're
Hold
coming
on.
with me.
What? Okay, before we get to this interesting interaction, because I feel like Gang was about to reject Jax's team-up request, which I want... Nope. Put a pin in that. I have something I want to say. But before I forget about what I was going to say before, is that obviously they have these 5 minutes to pair up with each other. And then after the 5 minutes is over, it's a free-for-all. And I wonder if he means that literally. Because we know that Kane doesn't like it when people kind of reject his suggestions. So even with the suggestion box, he tries to weave in his own elements, his own touch, like the evil gang in the softball episode. Not episode, the softball adventure portion in last episode. And so I wonder if Kane has planned this in order to brute force what he wanted to happen, but again, the illusion of choice. We know the scenario he wanted, the A and B, the betrayal, the shooting each other, etc., being paired up, but against each other, right? And now he's like, no, I'm bringing back the partnership, like the teamwork. After 5 minutes, it's a free-for-all. And free-for-all means friendly fire allowed. Free-for-all. I wonder if he's going to try to make people, or something is involved to maybe try and make the pair turn on each other. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I could see it happening because clearly within the rules, it's a free-for-all. I feel like some alliances could break down. That's ominous, but pin. I had a pin. What was my pin? About the rejecting of Jax. That was a very quick decision, and I think maybe if he didn't do this, maybe Pomni would have asked to be his partner, maybe, or maybe Pomni was expecting Jax to ask to be her partner. I mean, this is the thing. If it was me, I don't know if I would trust to be Jax's partner, but I might team up with him just because I think maybe we'd win. But King is also very good with a gun. I could also see Zubul being very calm and collected, but they can be pretty brutal at times, or they won't put up with bullshit, but they're a lot more bold about it, and they can also be pretty headstrong at times. So I could see them being pretty good at this if they're willing to hurt other people. Not that they're being hurt, it's for the purposes of the game. Just consider this laser tag, really. Like, I have no issue absolutely cooking people in laser tag. I'm actually very good at laser tag because I'm small, I'm compact, very agile, and I'm not above doing a commando role mid-game. I take it very seriously, but it pays off. So if you think about it like that, this really is more of a game of laser tag. So I could see people actually shooting each other, but the point, anyway, is that Jax very quickly grabbed Gangel's hand and was like, let's go, like, we're partnering up. And maybe that's like force of habit or something, but it seemed too hurried for that. He didn't wait at all. He immediately moved, and I wonder if, maybe it's not true at all, but I wonder if his quick, like, you know, let's partner up together, quick, let's go, is maybe to ensure he doesn't pair up with Pomni. Maybe he kind of wants to, or maybe he thinks that Pomni would approach and like want to team up with him. especially since we don't really know what they talked about at the end of last episode, whether he opened it up at all, or like, here's what I wanted to show you in the corridor, in the room, whatever. I wonder if he is getting to the point where he's like, oh, this is getting a little too close for my comfort, or he's like, uh-oh, I'm actually enjoying someone's company and I can't have that. I've got to put some distance again. That's what my first gut reaction would be. Maybe he does just want to partner up with Gangle, but it seemed almost rushed. And whenever a character acts that way or a little out of character or they do something like that, I have to ask why. And that, to me, is a potential why. Because if you think about Jax's motivations and what's more important to him in that moment, I think if he chose Pomni or, approached Pomni first and was like, let's pair up, I think she would say yes. And I think that would get under Ragatha's skin. But is that antagonistic moment more important to Jax than keeping people at arm's length? I don't think it is. I think maybe he's in a bit of a shutdown mode. His attempts to befriend, for whatever reason, Pomni, maybe they worked a little too well. And, now he needs to keep away. Interesting times.
Come on, Sadie. You're coming with me.
I'm actually gonna be on a team with
Zubul?
Zubul.
Yay!
What? No, you're not. We've been together for every team adventure in the past.
Guess times are changing, bunny boy.
Hell yeah, I love that pairing. Oh.
Hey, you wanna be on my team?
I'd love to, but, well, I really don't want Kinger to get stuck with Jax.
Oh, yeah. Well, I could be on Kinger's team. He and I were
That
together
would,
once,
no,
and it
that
wasn't
would,
too bad.
that would put,
And have me on...
Oh, yeah, just forget I asked. I'll be on Jax's team.
Wait!
Like you said, probably good to keep Kinger and Jax separate. I can keep Jax in check, so don't worry about me.
Hey, Pomni? If you ever need to talk to somebody, or need help with anything, I'm here.
Okay, there is so much to unpack in that scene. I mean, first of all, again, there's not going to be a day that goes by that I don't overanalyze and try and really dig into the weeds of everything. So if things on their surface are just, what they are, that's fine. But I'm gonna try and think deeply about things. And Jax's face here, it's very mixed because it's almost like half irritation, but it's also kind of deep in thought. Like there's consternation on his face at that. And then he's kind of turned his back on everyone else as well while he's thinking. And again, coming back to the uncharitable and charitable interpretations, I mean, maybe he is kind of pissed off that one of his little toys that he gets to play with, like Gangle, getting to tease her. She's kind of got a happy little balance now. Maybe going back to last episode as well, like, did you think Gangle ever really could be happy? Like, hanging out with Zubul's not just gonna fix that kind of thing. Like, maybe in some sick and twisted way, he feels a little protective over Gangle as well, in the same way that he was like about Ragatha, like, don't you think she's kind of taking advantage of you sometimes? Like, there's a lot that could go into his motivation for that. Maybe he's just pissed that he can't tease her anymore if Zubul's kind of playing protector. But the face, it's like a grimace almost. I wonder if that was kind of his solution of like not having to pair with Pomni. And now that that's set up, he's kind of back turned to everyone else, thinking like, ooh, what's the plan now? Or even if the fact that he used to kind of run the show a little bit and, it's not so simple. Now, maybe he's feeling a bit out of control. But this was very interesting. Very interesting. Because Pomni could have approached Ragatha at any point. It's clearly, oh, look, she's my first choice. I'm going to Ragatha first. But she didn't actually approach Ragatha until things had kind of played out with Jax and Gangle and Zubul. So she must have been watching what was happening. Maybe that's why Jax turned away. But yeah, if she was unconcerned with what was going on, she would have just approached Ragatha during all of that. I get that it could be for audience, like, you want to see both parts of what's going on, so they present it as a linear series of events. But I choose to think of it as she was kind of watching that interaction play out. Jax clearly went to go partner up with someone else first, and then instead of looking for a different partner, he's just, sulk. And yeah, I initially thought, oh wow, that's nice. Maybe her first instinct was to go pair up with Ragatha, but I don't know if it was. I think this might be the result of what just happened. But it also is nice extending an olive branch and approaching her first, because I think Ragatha might have had trouble approaching anyone, but this is where we get a very muddled kind of interaction from her, because you can almost see her different wants, her different, intentions all kind of warring with each other, because it's very clear that, and we could have guessed this before it even happening based on last episode, she wouldn't want Pomni to pair with Jax. But she, playing kind of protector again, you can't really win. And it was obviously a very illogical kind of move from her, because who's Jax going to pair up with then? She doesn't want to pair up with Jax, clearly, but she doesn't want Kinga to pair up with Jax, and she's clearly quite, unwilling to let Pomni pair up with Jax. She really doesn't want that. So it's like, what do you, want to happen then? But it's also her people-pleasing ways at war with herself, because I think she does want to pair up with Pomni, or maybe she doesn't actually, because every interaction with Pomni has been quite, uncomfortable for both of them in a lot of ways. But I feel like because Pomni sees through a lot of bullshit, indiscriminate of who, she sees through Jax's bullshit, anyone with a facade up, she does see through it. So I feel like maybe Ragatha feels like she can't keep up that front in front of Pomni, because Pomni doesn't react to it the way that other people do, or the way that she wants other people to. She doesn't really know how to be in order to win Pomni's friendship, or it's like the blueprint's not there and she kind of flounders every time they have an interaction. So although pairing up would be an opportunity to kind of work together, again, going back to masking, like, it is exhausting. So maybe part of her doesn't want to pair up with Pomni. Part of her probably does, in order to, one, keep her away from Jax, but two, maybe get a bit closer. But then there's that part of her that is also like, oh, I need to look out for everyone around me. I don't want Kinga to have to pair up with Jax, which, I don't know, like, maybe I'm not remembering a specific instance, but I feel like there hasn't been that much, going on with Jax and Kinga. So I don't know if Ragatha's just trying to keep everyone away from Jax, or whether she feels that Kinga's not lucid enough to, like, not be taken advantage of. Maybe. But it's like none of these options are really acceptable, or she can't really win here, because one thing that she does, it's gonna have an outcome that is also not pleasant. Basically anyone left pairing up with Jax is not ideal for her. Like, this interaction as well is just so uncomfy. But also it's hard to get a read on Ragatha sometimes because of all the things she's not saying. As we heard last episode, without the stupid source, it wasn't, I never meant those things. It's, I never would have said those things. Not that she didn't mean them. So because we don't hear a lot of what she wants to say, it's hard to really get an accurate read on some of these situations. But even juxtaposing Ragatha's little rendition of it here with Pomni to Gangle in episode 4, I think that, do you have anyone to talk to? Kind of thing. And same with her to Jax, like, do you have any, like, real friends? You can feel them coming from a place of sincerity, where that almost felt like Ragatha tacking that on as a preemptive warning, like, hey, if you ever need to talk about anything, that Jax does, like, I'm here for you, kind of thing. Especially after Pomni, being like, I'll pair up with Jax, no worries. And then I'll keep him in check, like, you don't need to worry about me. Ragatha then saying that again, like stopping her the third time. It does feel, and maybe with Kinga too, a little infantilizing. Like, yes, she might be looking out for people, but it can come across as, I know better. Like, I can see what you can't, and like, I know you're going to be miserable with Jax, like don't trust him, you can come talk to me, kind of thing. And Pomni's clearly a little bit dubious of that. And again, she sees right through people. She's been very wary of when Jax does something, out of character, or when he, like, fake apologized last episode. She's always a bit wary, and then she's like, no, I'll take it at face value. And even here, she's, like, grimacing, she's a bit dubious, but she's like, okay, like, thanks. But then, maybe she feels bad about rejecting Pomni's, not advances, but her reaching out to pair up together. Or maybe her projecting, like, I would have a miserable time paired up with Jax. So I think Pomni would too. I feel bad for making this happen. I've basically orchestrated it so that Pomni has to pair up with Jax. I feel bad about it. Let me reach out and, extend an olive branch so that she knows that it's not that I don't like her, or, like, it could be that as well. could be a mixture of that. But the look on her face when every time Pomni started to walk towards Jax made me think it was more of a, I don't want them to pair up together, whether it be so Pomni doesn't get hurt or whether it be so that they don't get closer. I think it was coming across more as that to me, and I think Pomni sees it as that as well. But that can also be a consequence of, keeping up that facade. Maybe even when you are saying something real, maybe she, would be willing to listen if Pomni needed to talk. It comes across just as like lukewarm as everything else, which can be the problem. Again, if everything's nice, then nothing is. Sort of comes back to that. So obviously there's nothing malicious in that. You see another moment where genuine connection maybe could have been made here, and we've just missed that opportunity, unfortunately. But also, I guess it came true. Pomni and Jax team up.
Well, look who it is. You sure you can handle me in all my glory?
I've been through worse. Hey,
Partners in crime. Literally. The guns.
During today's game,
Huh?
I don't really trust myself that much with it. And I also just really want to be able to fire a Tommy gun while laughing maniacally, and I don't want to break it before I
The
get that
duality
chance.
of Gangle.
I'll keep it safe for you.
This was so sweet. I really love their dynamic because Zubul took that with the seriousness and gravity that you would hope. Like, we know it breaks every time and it's always fine afterwards, but I mean, I was almost tempted to say, oh, it is, an insular adventure, it's in-house. You could just leave it somewhere safe, like in your room maybe. But I think this moment was more of a gesture of trust, and it's almost like those sayings of giving your heart away a little bit and going into sort of Gangle's issues with self-identity, and it's almost a little show of faith of trusting Zubul with a part of herself. Or you could even look at symbolism of, the comedy mask. She's given it to Gangle. Maybe she feels like maybe the happier version of her belongs with Zubul because she feels best with Zubul, or even that, like, hold on to this. I'm not putting it on because I don't want it to break, but I don't need to put it on right now because pairing up with you, like, I already feel good enough. I don't need the comedy mask on right now. There's just a lot you could take from this sweet moment, and I love these two.
I'll keep it safe for you.
Until she gets to fire the Tommy gun. Oh.
Huh? Oh, wait, what?
No!
That counted?
It counted.
Kane?
What? Oh, yeah, the guns have been teleported to random spots in the circus. Go find them, champs!
Oh, we've got a looter shooter on our hands.
Wait, Kane! I'm missing a life!
There's no time! It'll be my pleasure murdering all of you.
Have fun, guys!
You're so lame.
The CNA building? Huh. But something about this image, and I wonder what the other Polaroids are. Something about this image, the warm lighting, it makes me feel like this was maybe before it was abandoned, the building? Because it was very dim before, very abandoned. But in this, there's still drinks there, which maybe they're very old. But it looks like, I don't know, and why is Kane looking at it so tenderly? Full looter shooter.
You little devil.
Oh, Kinga and his
Our
guns.
biggest concerns would be Jax and Zubul. They're the youngest.
My
so
thoughts
they probably
too.
Still have some
Oh.
youthful fighting spirit.
Youngest, both of them.
I'm still missing a heart.
Yeah,
This
that's
isn't fair.
rough.
Oh, I got just the thing. Here, take this.
What?
Uh,
What?
Wait, what did you just do?
How did
What was that?
It's a butterfly. It can restore your health.
Did Kane mention that?
Oh, nah. I made it up.
What?
Oh my god. Okay. So that was crazy. At first I thought he'd hidden a little butterfly or something, because again, he loves insects. But that clearly appeared, he manifested it. And then it healed her heart, like a heart container. And he says he just made it up. Which, I mean, so many questions. Because is that kind of thing isolated to just the adventures or just this adventure? Or can they manifest things too? Like, do the player characters have any agency? Like, are they on creative mode and they just don't know, or have they just never tried? Or maybe because of Kinga's like background in computer science, maybe, I don't know if he's inadvertently accessed code somehow, or whether it is, you know, just a matter of imagination and manifesting. I mean, is that how Jax got a key to everyone's rooms? Or did he, you know, find those or get them a different way? I wonder. But that just goes to show sometimes, you know, characters that aren't the most lucid, he's maybe very clearly the most in touch with his imagination. And sometimes that's what you need in order to access these kind of things. It's almost like on both ends of the spectrum. Someone like Pomni, who is probably the most like her human self right now, being the newer recruit and has spent less time here and is less connected to this world, has spent less time in this world than in her human world, versus someone like Kinga, who's probably been here the longest. I feel like someone who's still keeping video game mechanics in mind, like Pomni in the clipping, maybe could unlock things like this, and someone like Kinga. But I feel like maybe the others wouldn't even dare to try, or maybe they wouldn't think of it. I wonder what the implications of this are, or whether it is sort of insular to the adventure. But yeah, Kinga was right on the money. I was like, Jax and Zubul are maybe going to be the most dangerous, or the ones to contend with. And Kinga, immediately comfortable with that gun, same as in the horror episode, which I saw coming.
What?
Searching for guns. Oh.
So, who are you gonna kill first, Pom Pom?
I don't know if I'll really be doing much of the killing. I'll just find guns for you, and you can do all the violent stuff. You like that, right?
No, I don't think he does.
You know none of this is real, right?
Oh, what do you mean? Like the circus?
The game today is literally to shoot each other. So what's the point in taking this moral high ground?
Well, they're my friends. I don't really want to hurt them.
All right, let me be real here. Why do you care about that?
About not hurting my friends?
Look, I know what it's like. One day you're somebody in the real world doing important things, and then the next you're just a weird little cartoon jester. You want to hold on to that part of you that still thinks it's part of that world, but in the end, what does it get you? Ragatha tries to be all nice and friendly, but she gets torn up every other adventure. Whether we like it or not, all we are now is a bunch of cartoon characters. So what's the point of pretending we're not?
We're still people, though, right?
I thought we were at first, but as time goes on, we just end up falling into our archetypes, become part of the machine.
Okay. I don't know if this is the scene that I'm supposed to watch all the way through. I did my best, but there's too much to work with here, and I will pause sparingly. I'll let the rest of it play out as much as I can, but I feel like based on this little portion, a shift has just happened or is about to happen in the sternness or maybe the seriousness of this conversation. So a good stopping point, but also I couldn't not after the mention of archetypes, because as soon as I was mentioning that in like episode 2, so many of you were like, episode 6, think about it. And this is just such an interesting scene between the two of them, because it's very much another Jax initiated one, where he's asking questions to try and get to know what she's thinking. Like why do you care about that? Which sounds like a callous question to us, but he's not wrong. From the perspective of the circus, like, again, laser tag, it's not like any of them really do get hurt, but that is Pomni holding on to her, like, human morality, maybe, or, you know, the sense of not wanting to do wrong or hurt, even though the rules are kind of different here. But that's when we see Jax slip a little bit, because, again, Pomni just really brings this out. He's starting to talk about himself, because he's like, look, I know what it's like. You were in the human world doing important things, and then all of a sudden, and he pauses here. Like, he realizes what he's saying. He's like, you're some stupid cartoon about to say bunny or rabbit, I'm assuming, because he's been talking about himself. And then he shifts it to, Jester, I'm talking about you, not me, definitely not. You can see that moment here on his face when he realizes he's kind of maybe let her in a little too much again. Maybe this is why he didn't want to pair up with her, because I feel like he doesn't even realize it's happening until it's happened and he catches himself maybe revealing too much, maybe feeling a bit too comfortable and sort of needing to pull back. And this makes me think that maybe he tried too. He's like, I know, I get it. You want to hold on to that part of you that feels like it's part of that world. And it's like, but what does it get you? Using Ragatha as an example there, but I wonder what it got him. Ugh, and I feel like he's very much talking from experience here. He's like, we all, or maybe just him, we've been there trying to hold on to that, but we are just a bunch of cartoon characters. There's no point pretending that we're still part of that world. To Pomni's Ernest, but we're still people, right? Only for Jax to go, I thought we were at first. I want to know about his origin entering the circus, because his actions led me to believe this, but now his words have too, that initially things were a lot different for him here than they are now. And then we get to the point of everything that as time goes on, we end up falling into our archetypes. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned that as a theory, and I kept it in mind because of the comments like, oh, episode 6, remember this? And yeah, him referencing archetypes right after talking about, Ragatha getting blown apart, obviously very ragdoll. And oh my god, I forgot to mention this last episode. I made a note because I'd already talked enough. While editing, I was going to jump in and expand upon a point, and I completely forgot. But I mentioned Ragatha being a ragdoll very, very early on. I think episode 1 actually, when I was like, I wonder if the characters' appearances mean anything about their personality, like maybe she's a pushover. And some of you were like, oh, kind of clocked her tea a little. And I think it's definitely true to a degree. I don't know how much so for each character. But last episode, I was going to mention a thought I had in that vein about ragdoll, about Ragatha being from, a wealthy family, expected to behave a certain way. And it made me think that not only is the ragdoll, like the nature of her, significant because of her pushover nature or her people-pleasing tendencies, but also, quite literally, the pretty frock, the bow in her hair, obviously the stereotypical ragdoll appearance, but also it could be representative of, her having to remain prim and proper, but you can kind of see beneath that because of the patchwork on her dress. Like trying to maintain that facade, but you can see the cracks in the veneer, you can see the areas where it's fallen apart, but she can't let that show. She has to be perfect, so she's just got to stitch it back up and move along. But then the other poignant thought I had was that maybe she felt like a rag doll in her family, like women often being, just sex objects or just tools, like, things to be owned and then transferred through marriage or etc. You know what I'm talking about. And so it's interesting that she's a rag doll, because what do people do with dolls? They play house, they, manipulate, they maneuver, they enact their will sort of through this doll. And so I wonder if that's how she felt with her mum especially, sort of just playing along to the whims of an overly critical and maybe controlling mother, trying to please her, but also not feeling like anything's in her own control, and that she's just being maneuvered about like a doll. I just saw her on the door there and I thought I had to mention it now that archetypes have come up. And I think he's not wrong about people falling into, or it might even not be that they're leaning into the archetypes of their appearance, but maybe that their appearance somewhat is based on their own archetype, or maybe some of the core tenets of who they are or who they became as people. And maybe this place kind of makes you lean into that more. So it could be that their appearances pigeonhole them into certain roles, or maybe it's vice versa. The chicken or the egg, maybe it's that they would devolve this way anyway, and so their outer appearances kind of manifested to reflect that. I think it's very interesting, but archetypes are definitely an important theme here, I guess subconsciously and also maybe consciously. If people like Jax kind of choose to behave a certain way for their own reasons, or maybe because it's what people expect, but I don't know, I'm gonna keep watching this scene, but I have so many thoughts.
Part of the machine.
Part of the
What's your
machine.
archetype then?
Capitalism.
Villain?
The villain.
Listen, I add a key dynamic. I see how far I can push things. I screw with people, and I break the fourth wall.
He
You
does.
wanna know why? It's 'cause it's funny. I do everything 'cause it's funny. 'Cause I'm the funny one.
The funny one?
Yeah, Ragatha's the cheerful one, Gangle's the sad one, Kinger's the crazy one, Zubal's the grumpy one, and you are the one who hasn't figured that out yet. We all just became archetypes. I at least have the self-awareness to choose who I am.
The funny one.
So who do you want to be? No better chance than now to try something new. You want to go nuts? You want to finally work off those weeks of rage and anguish that have been building up inside you? I know you hate it here. Everyone does. But the silver lining is you can pretty much do whatever you want. Like, look at the way you're aiming that gun. Too realistic. Just let loose.
Okay, first of all, Jax has given me some capitalism to work with here, because like he said before, I was like you. I was out in the world, the human world, and I was doing important work. I was, I thought I had a purpose kind of thing, and now look at me. But then also just being cogs in the machine. Like, interesting. Interesting that he said that, and also what's interesting is this face, because I think throughout this conversation, he keeps, every time he mentions that he's the funny one, his eyes do a little thing, and I think you can see deep down, he doesn't believe that. He doesn't believe he's the funny one, but as he said, and I guess as I'll get to as I go through the scene, is that he wants to choose. I think he feels he doesn't like when it's out of his control. And he says, we're falling into archetypes. All of us are. So at least I'm choosing. I'm choosing who I am, which puts a lot of his prior actions into some context of, being a bit of a terror, but also having that sarcasm, the devil may care attitude. I noted a lot of times, how him and Ragatha being foils to each other is like they both have facades on, kind of, that cancel each other out a little bit. But I think Jax partly convinces himself that, he doesn't have a facade. This is just who he is. This is who he's choosing to be. So the fact that Pomni's saying what we're all thinking, oh, what, you're the villain archetype? He did not like that. But I think he knows it's true. He's dealing with that cognitive dissonance right in front of our eyes. As he said, he likes to screw with people. He likes to see what he can do, like how he can push people. And I don't know if every time he says it, his eyes go all fake again. And it's like he either 100% knows that he's bullshitting, or he's convinced himself that he's not. And that, oh, look, it's all funny. I'm the funny one. Which I wonder, he says that they all fell into archetypes, but I'm choosing. Which makes me think what he was like before. Whether maybe he was falling into a different archetype or was behaving in a radically different way. And him choosing, taking on this persona, was a really huge divergence from sort of who he was before. That's what that makes me think. And this made me so sad, but also I realized it's reflecting herself on the door. I don't necessarily know what that means, but I wonder if the images on their doors change at all, or if it is just kind of representative of, their first appearance. Maybe that was more Pomni from episode 1, or maybe it's the archetype of who they'll eventually become, what they'll succumb to. And maybe it's just a little Easter egg reflecting her door. But this is so sad. Her sad little eyes and her sad little frown. But it's also very true. That's what I was saying, that Pomni feels like the straight man. She feels like the one who hasn't fallen into either an archetype in the literal sense or just the status quo, the habits they've all gotten into. And I really wonder what Pomni's thinking in this moment, because yeah, he said, you're the only one who hasn't chosen yet. You're the only one who, we haven't figured out yet. And him saying, I had the self-awareness to at least choose. But this is the thing, I commented last episode too, and I don't even know if he realizes it, but even when he puts the persona back on, I think it's getting harder and harder for him to control his expressions, which is why we've seen in this episode, last episode, we keep seeing him turn away with a different expression on his face, either to show the audience, and he does like to break the fourth wall, but also because even when he's trying to say something biting or sarcastic, his eyebrows keep giving him away, or the grimace, the expression, and it makes me, the way he's like, I have the self-awareness to choose who I am, who I'm going to be. I can't help but wonder if, he is being affected by Pomni's arrival and the way she interacts with him, and he's fighting against that. I wonder if, and I wonder if it has something to do with the people who have abstracted before, because maybe we don't fully know what they were going through before that happened or what event triggered the final abstraction. Maybe, but I don't know if it's fully out of trying to push people away or whether maybe he's trying to, like, if he chooses who he is and how he behaves and he doesn't deviate from that, I wonder if he thinks he won't abstract then, if he doesn't behave unpredictably, if he just behaves this way and maintains this facade, whether it kind of stabilizes him in his mind. But also, Pomni is all of us. This is the second time, which makes me think it's important, that she's questioning out loud the funny one. The funny one, like, you think you're the funny one? Really? And obviously we know she sees through people. She sees straight through everything. I know she knows that that's not the case, especially since she called out him being the villain. But she went from being confused to almost pensive about it now. And I wonder what she's gonna do. Because she said the villain as if she's talking to herself. And then obviously in a bit we see her kind of go boss mode and shoot, kind of go along with Jax's suggestion. And I wonder if, I think she's too mentally strong. I don't know, I just feel like she wouldn't necessarily fold just because Jax told her to. So I wonder if, actually I'll let that thought cook a little more, but I'll come back to it. And now this could be either giving her an outlet or, I don't know, because again, he's not forcing her. He might suggest, but he's basically like, now's as good a time as any to choose. Like, who do you want to be? Do you want to go nuts and let out all that like anger and anguish and rage at being stuck here? This is where rather than forcing, he does seem more like, you know, a devil on the shoulder kind of figure. But he's not forceful in not trying to make Pomni like him. Oh, that could mean two things. I mean, like him as in behave like him, but also like him as in like, I don't know, like him as a person. But then going into, I know you hate it here, and he's kind of looking off to the side and getting a bit distant, even going so far as to say, I know you hate it here, everyone does. And without meaning to, again, kind of referencing himself, which seems to happen a lot around Pomni. And this is, I'll keep the other thought cooking, but I wonder if in his own way, this is maybe trying to help Pomni not abstract eventually. I don't know about that, but the way he says to let all of those feelings of anger and anguish out, let them out, I wonder what he's thinking about and whether he's genuinely opening up this avenue to get out all of those like negative feelings, maybe to stop her from abstracting, or maybe he's thinking about people who have abstracted. He said, I know you hate it here, everyone does, and then sort of looking off. I wonder if he's thinking about people who abstracted, like, did them hating it here factor into like a negative emotion build up that maybe got out of hand and that's why they abstracted? I don't know, because I'm thinking about what he gets out of this, and I don't think it's just that he wants, maybe a partner in crime would be nice, but I don't think it's just that he wants someone who acts exactly like him. And I think there is care in him that he doesn't want to let show, and he also wants to convince everyone around him that there's nothing deeper to him, and that I don't know how he's going to get out of this, because I feel like Pomni sees right through him. I think she's going to call him on it. I have thoughts. I'll put a pin in it. I feel like it's going to get developed, and so I don't want to say anything too absolute right now, but I will venture back and maybe expand on it when I think a little bit more about this dynamic and the pushing away of Pomni, but also the to be continued. Oh, I was just about to move on, and then I realized it's confirmed. The C and A. I mean, I think we all guessed from like seeing C and A that Cain and Abel, but to be written out so plainly there on the gun, Cain and Abel. That's very interesting. And yeah, this is, God, I know I keep saying that I'll come back to it later, but this is a little sneak peek of what I'm kind of thinking about. The fact that Jax is like, that's too realistic. Just have fun with it. Let loose. And in that moment, she kind of, spins the gun, shoots like a badass, kind of leaning into what he said. I wonder if, again, I think she's too strong to be swayed if she doesn't want to be swayed, if that makes sense. I wonder if the villain, her kind of saying that to herself, seeing the way he reacted to that and like, no, I'm the funny one, kind of that cognitive dissonance, the way he's kind of opening up, I wonder if she is like big braining him and if she's gonna play along, maybe to get him to open up. I don't know if that's crazy, but I I wonder. That's kind of what I'm thinking, and I'll think on it more as we go. Okay, I'm back. Now that I'm a third of the way through the video, I took a bit of a screen break because I get migraines a lot and I had the worst one last night. Obviously screens make them even worse, so I'm just knowing how long I spend on these, I'm taking it easy. So make sure you take breaks from screens as well. It's important.
What the heck? Today, I'm just gonna be evil. How's that?
Go for it.
Yeah, those other fools better watch their tails because they're going to face the wrath of Pomni the Evil!
It's kind of cringe.
Oh, sorry, Pomni. I was literally about to say that. Okay, this is so interesting. This is part of kind of what I was thinking, maybe, because we very specifically see the teeth and like she says, I'm gonna be evil. I'm evil Pomni. And we literally saw evil Pomni last episode. And we saw Jack say, she's so cool, or something about the evil version of Pomni, right? And then I think she could be playing him, like not maliciously playing him, but trying to figure him out. He's always trying to figure out what she's going to do. And I wonder if she's doing the same thing, because when they first paired up and she's like, oh, I don't really want to hurt anyone. Like, I'll just find the guns and you can shoot everyone. You'd like that, right? And I was like, I don't think he would, because I think he wants to see you like whatever you're going to do. And so for her to kind of look down, she's like, okay. And she's like, oh, today I'll be evil. How's that? Looking for his approval on it. So I don't know, but I don't think she's really leaning into, oh, is that Queenie? But I don't think she's really leaning into being evil. She keeps on looking for his, not even approval, but just she's gauging his reaction. And she's very clearly putting on a character here, like going through the motions. Yeah, screw those. Like she has no idea what she's saying, which might mean she's saying what she thinks he would want her to say. Because when she is, being her, I feel like everything he does, and maybe she feels this, everything he does is trying to get a reaction out of her, seeing how she'd react. So I wonder if instead of she's putting on this kind of character, the expectation of what she's going to do is already there, right? She's going to shoot, she's going to be evil Pomni. I wonder if she's trying to coax a reaction out of him, or see if he's then the one who, is going to respond to what's happening. I don't know if she's big braining him, or if she's just giving in to whatever, I don't think so. Or whether she could be giving into it to try and get on his good side in order to then learn more about him. Or maybe she is truly just, using this episode as an outlet for all of those negative emotions, but she seems to be doing quite okay recently. So I wonder if she's playing along for his sake or whether she has some other motivation here, but I'm best believe I'm thinking a lot about that as we go.
It's
kind of cringe.
Are we really gonna be shooting each other with these?
It's either shoot or
You've
get
gone so little. Oh, wait. One, that's hilarious. Look at a tiny, tiny little gun. But yes, as I was saying at the start of the episode about the fluff from Ragatha, and I was like, I wonder if Kinga would have like shattered wood, I think I said, or like cracked wood. But yeah, it's like splintered. It's very, thematically consistent. It's giving Boo's door from Monsters, Inc. It's very sad. But damn, he got gunned down. I'm assuming maybe, Jackson Pomni are otherwise occupied. I'm assuming Zubul or Gangle.
Get shot.
It's either shoot or be shot.
Ragatha! There's a sniper around this corner.
Oh, phew, thanks for telling us.
Are you sure we're safe up here?
Whoa! Tactical roll!
He's me.
Come
Oh,
on, Ragatha.
never mind. Not me. I promise my laser tag commando rolls were a little more graceful than that, but I love that he turned into like a caterpillar or a worm just like inching along the ground. Very in character for him.
Looks like we've located the king and the ragdoll.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get him!
See, she's not inherently playing
I don't
along.
even really know how to fire a gun. I don't know how much use I'd be in.
Whoops, did I do that?
Missed a spot.
Ooh!
You're so cool.
Ragatha,
Wait! Okay, that was almost verbatim from last episode about him talking to Evil Pomni. Oh, she's so cool. And then him saying that to her now. Interesting. Nice shot.
You're so cool. Agatha, take cover!
Oh, she's taken cover.
I'll take Rags. You go Kinger.
Rightio, evil bro.
Oh no, I don't like it.
Gun. Need a gun, need a gun!
No, that's a trap. Oh. I guess. Oh, it was.
Come on, man.
Oh, close range. Oh, only one heart left. Uh-oh.
Kinger?
Wait, okay, I don't know if we were supposed to think that, but I personally got double faked out there because it was just lying there. Usually the guns were... Actually, we didn't see that in the hallway. Drax just found it behind something, but I was expecting it to be in one of those little, like, summoning circles, for lack of a better term, in looter shooters where it's kind of lit up and rotating like we saw earlier in the episode. So seeing it just lying there on the ground, I was like, that is a trap, definitely. I thought she was going to get there and she was going to be gunned down as soon as she stepped around the corner. But then she picked it up and I'm like, oh, never mind, I guess. And then it was a trap gun. So that was a roller coaster of emotions that I just went on. Rip. I wonder what happens when they hit 0 hearts.
Really use another one of those butterflies!
Howdy, howdy.
I know exactly what you're doing with Pomni, and it'll never work.
Huh?
You know,
Yeah.
close with Pomni to corrupt her. Wait, no, wait. Oh, wow, I didn't actually think that.
Hell yeah. Oh. Okay, you've double tapped. That's enough. Oh. Wait a second. I could be way off base here, but that literally, I've got goosebumps. That just sent like a shiver down my spine when I had that thought. Because when she's like, I know what you're doing with Pomni, I was thinking, but he's not. I think she might be projecting a little bit there still of him trying to, like, in Ragatha's eyes anyway, make Pomni a bad person or just like him. I think based on how he's behaved towards her, maybe that's what she sees. Maybe she feels like he tried to do that to her, like try and force her to be bad. We haven't seen any indication of that. We just know maybe they had a prior friendship or I don't know. It's possible that she's projecting because of that, or just because she sees them getting closer and she's worried either for Pomni or because she doesn't want another Jax in the circus. But for her to say that, I was literally like, but he's not doing that. And I don't think he would think he's doing that either. And the actual just surprised, like befuddled, like what? I actually don't know what you're talking about is interesting because, as I mentioned last episode, and as some of you sort of talked about in the comments too, about he's very reactive with Pomni. Like, it's not trying to corrupt her necessarily. We'll get to the use of that word, corrupt. But it's more gauging her reactions, seeing what she'd do, just not forcing her to be a certain way, but putting her in positions where, you know, different reactions can be either observed or coaxed out of her. It's, I think, a lot more nuanced than just, you know, trying to corrupt her, hence his confusion. But then this shook me to my core because he was confused, right? And then she said, you know, trying to corrupt Pomni, and he lifts the gun and shoots her, or backfires on himself. But then he shoots her several more times, like in the loss of control way. Like, he's been quite precise up to now, you know, jumping over, headshot, very precise. Maybe a double tap is necessary, who knows? If you're following the rules of Zombieland, it is. But he lost control there. He was like panting, shaking, his pupils were trembling, his expression faltering, and so he was shaken to his core there. And I'm wondering, all of this happened after she said, you're trying to corrupt Pomni. Does he think that she meant, or even if she didn't mean it, or he didn't think that, maybe he's internalized it? Is he maybe thinking that he corrupted other people, or that people close to him, they abstracted because of him, because he corrupted them? Like, that could not be true at all, but just the use of the word corrupt, and then that's when he shot her, and now he's shaking in a he's lost control. Maybe it's because she's, you know, dead, she's out of the game now, so no one's around to observe his reaction. But especially for someone who tries to, you know, choose which archetype they want to be, being stable, he really feels like he's losing control. And I don't know if maybe even just the word corrupt made him think of that, like the possibility of him abstracting. But in the context of corrupting someone else, I think that could be hinting that maybe he's either scared about actually corrupting someone to the point of abstraction, or he fears or believes that he's done that before. Damn. Loser corner.
Oh.
Oh.
I lost Kinger, but I got him down to 1 life.
I lost a life, but I got us down to 1 kinger.
How'd you let her take a life off you?
I don't really know.
Wait, I'm so sorry, but I'm sure you guys clocked that as well. He's just stewing in those emotions right now. The minute he hears Pomni, the face is wiped and the facade, the smile is back on instantly.
I lost Kinger, but I got him down
There
to
it
1
is.
life.
I was just about to press play again. What is that? What is that? Because it looks awfully like Jax has a tail. Moving on.
Hey, I found this AK thing. If we can't find the Tommy gun, will this work?
Yeah.
Good enough.
Do you think Jax is gonna be mad that I didn't team up with him?
I wouldn't worry about him right now. It's all just a game in the end.
Yeah.
It's Jax, though. He probably wants revenge, and he's gonna make it painful.
Hey, you deserve better than thinking about him when he's not even here. You're a human. You're not his toy.
It sometimes doesn't feel that way.
These Avatar gimmicks, huh? Makes you wonder why no one else got them.
I just wish that... How are you supposed to like the part of yourself that just makes you worse than everyone else?
'Cause it exists. It's a part of you that's real. And the only you that you should care about is the real you. You have to choose to love yourself, even if it doesn't make sense. It's not natural, it's intentional.
Have you ever had to make that choice?
Huh?
Sorry, I mean... Of course not, you're Zubul.
Whatever happens, I've got your back if you've got mine.
Yeah. Now let's go kill Pomni and Jax.
Alright.
That was intense for a lot of reasons. But yeah, I'm actually glad this was mentioned because I was wondering, I mean, I was proud of Gangle for being so bold as to, you know, say no to Jax because she wanted to partner with Zubul. But I was wondering if she was worried about the consequences of that. And I mean, like Zubul said, I guess more in the sense from them that don't need to worry about him, he's not here. But I actually don't think she needs to worry about that necessarily. I don't think it's necessarily weighing on his mind. Maybe it is. Maybe that's what that expression was on his face. But rather than it be a not choosing him, I wonder if in that case it was more about her choosing someone else, like seeing them have a bit of community and him being kind of left on his own. There's so many ways to interpret that scene specifically, but I don't necessarily, I could be proven wrong, but I don't necessarily think it's something that Gangle needs to worry about right now. But that is wild. Because as Zubul said, like, I wonder why no one else got these avatar gimmicks. But I mean, if we're looking at it from the symbolism sense, they are very fitting for the character's internal struggles, mental health wise, or dysmorphia, dysphoria wise, or I don't know, it hit very hard when Gangle was like, how are you supposed to like a part of you that makes you worse than everyone else? And really brings in discussions of self-acceptance, especially when it comes to disability, neurodivergence, being genderqueer. Not that it makes you worse than anyone, but in the way that it affects how some people are going to see you, how you feel about yourself, how the world is not designed for you, or how difficult it could be for you to navigate it, and it makes you feel worse than everyone else. And I guess that's a big part when masking and when, putting on or trying to put your best foot forward, portray a certain version of yourself. We talked about this a lot in the comments of episode 4 of masking and the like. It's less so about helping yourself and more about, putting yourself through a lot in order to make people around you comfortable, in order to not make them uncomfortable or, put out by your feelings or your behavior. Whereas internally, it can be really hard, internalizing all of that. And it's interesting that Zubul mentioned, you are a human, following quite closely from the scene before with Jackson Pomney, diametrically opposed. Zubul affirming, you are a human, you're a person, you're not just like a toy for Jax to play with. Whereas Jax trying to assert to Pomney that we are not humans and just trying to, shut that part of him or that potential out. And this was such a beautiful point, how can you love that part of yourself that makes you worse, that makes me feel less or like you're not as worthy or a million different things. Simple reply, because it exists. It is a part of you and it's not wrong. It's not bad. Humans are complex. It's part of being human. And, self-love is often, it's not natural. It's a choice. It's intentional. You have to choose to be kind to yourself and give yourself love. And that the only you should care about is the real you, like the one that you know, which is hard, especially when, in the age of the internet as well, where people will judge you off one interaction or sometimes without one interaction, just hearing secondhand information, even in the real world too. So many different versions of yourself exist out there in other people's minds. And it can be really hard when you feel misunderstood or misrepresented or just anything. And Zubul saying the only one you should care about is the real you. And I guess only you and the people closest to you can really know that person. It's all about the perspective of that. And yeah, it's a very deep conversation with them. And I noticed the gloinks on the flags in the background. But it's funny that even in this conversation, there is still a little bit being unsaid, because Gangle's kind of, I guess, idolizing Zubul in this moment of, have you ever had a moment where you had to make that choice? We've obviously seen a lot more of that side of Zubul, but they kind of hesitate. And in that moment, there was a light reflecting from behind them. They looked like, an angel come to save the day. And we see Gangle putting them on a bit of a pedestal, I think. Of course not, you're Zubul, you're confident in everything. And it's not like Zubul's lying, but it might be either not wanting to take the focus off this conversation, maybe not ready to share, or maybe it's just not really something that they feel they can talk about right now or put into so many words, especially when if someone's made an assumption, of course not, I bet you never have mental health issues, you're always fine. It's sort of yeah, so true, bestie. It's interesting seeing these different sides of Zubul. I really enjoy all the moments we get of them.
Alright, here's one. What's with the corn thing?
What corn thing?
Why are you afraid of corn? And don't say that you're not. You literally jumped out of your seat twice when you saw some.
Not gonna let me out of this one. Well, I don't know, it's got a bunch of little pods on it. Looks kind of like an egg sac or something. It's gross. Makes my skin crawl.
Does he have
Interesting.
trypophobia?
Do you have a type of trypophobia?
What's that?
The fear.
There was not much that it could be, right? But Pomni and me were just, but also valid if she called out my pronunciation. I've never actually heard it said. I always read it trypophobia. I think she said trypophobia. Either way, I didn't even consider that, but actually that is a very valid thing to fear if you have trypophobia, because I can see how, the kernels of corn would resemble that kind of pattern of holes or eggs or... Oh, that makes so much sense. I was like, does he have like corn trauma or something? Why corn? But that's very valid, actually. But actually, while I've paused, I will deconstruct what we've seen so far, because I'm in two minds about this. Number one, I think... This is why I think Pomni is maybe big braining him, because she's not in necessarily... She could be, which I'll get to, but she's not necessarily in like overly evil persona right now. They're just chatting. And as always with these two, we're getting more insight. He's actually answering her questions of why it freaks him out. And instead of just deflecting, which he easily could do, he's genuinely like, oh, you're not going to let me get out of this, huh? But you can get out of it. You can just ignore what she asked and say that you're not going to get into it. You easily could get out of it. But I don't think he wants to, because they're having a genuine moment, and I don't even know if he's clocking that actively or whether he's just kind of giving into it without realizing. But this is what I mean by he's being real and dropping the facade, because even when he still has a bit of that sarcastic lilt to his voice, his eyebrows are being very, I don't know, expressive and natural, and he's just engaging in a conversation without any, like, there's no other benefit to that. He's not exposing this part of himself so that he can use it somewhere down the line. Like, he's just having a conversation, a very inconsequential one. But then I could also see this being part of Pomni's, I don't know if it's a plan, but she doesn't go into full evil mode here, but she kind of has that, like, excuse maybe. Like, she can be bold like this because she's like, oh, I'm going to be evil Pomni. So she can kind of take this opportunity to rib him a little bit and I guess use that as a guise, because her expression here, I was like, she could consider this part of the persona that she's playing in order to make him reactive. Like, she's asking these questions in this persona and he's like, oh, well, guess you're not letting me off the hook here, huh? This dynamic is so interesting. And I'm also concerned about this because, as I said, I don't know if Jax fully clocks what's happening. The fact that they're having a genuine conversation, just the two of them, being real, like not as a distraction, not as part of an adventure. Like, this is not part of the adventure. They're in the adventure, but this is an insular moment where they're just talking, biding time. And based on the way he lost control earlier, I'm concerned going forward how this relationship is going to develop, because characters like Jax can only get so close before they need to shut the drawbridge and just cut off, like push people away. That's why I'm thinking maybe he doesn't clock what's happening, because if they just spoke like this all the time, him just being himself, I think she would like him, like spending time with him and chatting with him. And I think that would terrify him, but also I don't think he can let it get that far, get that real. That's what this is all about, is him, I guess the fantastical nature of choosing an archetype and, you're not a human, not anymore. It's trying to distance himself from that and from real feeling. And I think Pomni's playing a dangerous game here because she's doing a good job coaxing it out of him and having this moment with him. But I fear, especially with that meltdown earlier, I fear the shutdown coming. Part of why I think maybe he didn't want to work with her in the first place, because I think without meaning to, he just naturally lets his guard down around her and enjoys her company. And he can't have that because that's real. And he can't have that. Definitely not. And even like revealing a weakness to her, the corn thing especially, you could get out of it, man. You could. And instead you're exposing why it makes you feel that way. If he had his guard up, he would never do that. Because like with what Zubal did, using it against him a little bit last episode, knowing why it freaks him out, like with Rykatha and the centipedes, Pomni could use that. And not just with the corn. If she knows that he has trypophobia, she could use so many things. And not that she would, but that's a level of weakness that he can't tolerate. But he's just exposing it because he's maybe so, not invested, but just in this conversation. He's not even thinking about the facade or the potential, ramifications of that. He's just being present. I'm worried, but I guess we'll see where this goes.
Type of trypophobia?
What's that?
The fear of lots of little holes.
Yeah.
Okay. How about pomegranates?
Awful.
I'm learning a lot about you today.
let's not forget we're here to kill people. We still need to find out where Nutso went before we can rest easy.
That scared the shit out of me. Oh my god. I was so focused on, like, my thoughts were just churning about him clocking it. The same time and then Kinga. Okay, backtrack a minute. I was literally, again, me and Pomni in sync, because when she asked about other things, she's like, what about pomegranates? And he was like, awful. I'm like, you're giving away more. What are you doing? You're telling us so much about yourself, and I don't think you know that you're doing that. Only for Pomni to voice what I was thinking of, I'm learning a lot about you today. And as she said that, I was like, my face is falling, because I realized, I'm like, oh, he's not going to like that. And that's what made him realize. I knew it. I knew he didn't realize that's what he was doing. Her saying that and him just like, oh, slipping back into not talking about me. Let's talk about the mission, like we're on our way to kill people. Let's stop talking about real things. And then Kinga scared the shit out of me. So, thank you, Kinga.
People. We still need to find out where Nutso went before we can rest easy.
Me.
I'm right behind you, aren't I?
Not him saying the line. Oh, they're in sync. Oh, King is in the dark.
There he is!
Teapot. Oh!
Sorry.
Friendly fire. As I thought.
Hope you guys are ready for my ricochet super move!
That could hit anyone, even yourself.
Oh, here's the light.
Huh.
High five!
Yeah!
I didn't actually think it was going to hit himself, but that's the only thing that hit him. I love that all the bullets hit him and not either of the fragile pots or the plant pots at the back. Like, those are all fine. Walls were a bit scuffed, but Kinga just took himself out. But as I thought, the friendly fire. I don't know if this is all we're getting this episode or whether this is foreshadowing, maybe a later betrayal, but them saying free for all, I was like, it's definitely going to be a free-for-all, incorporating that betrayal element. Because I wonder if the first Hunger Games style, whether they're going to get to the end after eliminating the other partners and the game's not over, reincorporating that A-B character, betrayer versus betrayee, kind of dynamic like Kane wanted. This could have nothing to do with that. Maybe it's just this little moment, but I wonder if this is setting up for a later betrayal, confirming that friendly fire is indeed allowed, free for all. But also, that was a real apology. And you can see the shock in Jax's face when he accidentally hits Pomni. And without even thinking, this is why I feel like when the two of them are together, he becomes real again. Because like last episode where his gut reaction wasn't to deflect, he eventually did, but his gut reaction is to just let his walls down and just be real. He hits Pomni and he goes, oh, sorry. Like a genuine sorry that sounded like a reflex. Whereas even when he hit Gangle, like when they were practicing softball, an actual moment of surprise from him, like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Almost like he was talking to himself. Whereas this apologized as if it was a habit, and we know it's not a habit for the Jax we know anyway, which is so funny because talking about the A-B scenario from earlier, the assumption is always that Jax is going to be the one doing friendly fire. But in this instant when it happened, that's not something he wanted to have happened. It was an accident. I don't know, it's interesting, you know, what happens when Pomni doesn't treat him like he is his worst actions and they have their real connection moments. We're just seeing more and more of this Jax, and it's definitely going somewhere. Like, listen to his sorry.
Whoops, sorry.
Yep. Like, he didn't need to say that. He could have made a joke or a wisecrack about, like, get out of my line of fire or something. It's just little pieces are getting chipped away slowly but surely. And I think when he realizes that, he's not going to be happy. They do make a good team, though.
Huh.
High five!
Yeah!
Evil Pomni emerges again.
What a game. Who knew Pomni could be such a sharpshooter? These adventures, huh? And look, even though we lost, at least we gave it our all, right? You feeling all right?
We're in the dark.
Are you upset that we lost? Are you upset about something else? You want to talk about it?
I think I might have failed Pomni. Just like I failed Jax. I tried too hard to get on their good side, and then I just end up pushing them away. And then they end up hating me.
Well, I don't think anyone in here hates you.
Jax does! Gangle and Subal don't ever talk to me, and Pomni probably won't after today either. She came to me wanting to be on my team. I said no. Why did I do that?
Maybe you just needed a break. It sounds to me like you put a lot of pressure on yourself to be there for everyone, and when you're not, you beat yourself up for it. You said you failed Pomni. Why do you feel that way?
I don't know. I feel like every day we're drifting further apart. Like she's seen through all my tricks and doesn't trust me anymore. Before I know it, she'll be a different person. One who doesn't even want me around.
Jax.
The way I see it, relationships are two-sided, and sometimes it doesn't make sense to do all the heavy lifting when the other isn't in the mood. We all go through and deal with things differently, and sometimes you just need to let people do things their own way, as long as you're still there when they need you. Giving someone space should never be the same as giving up on them.
I don't even know what I want. I just want everyone to be happy. And I don't want people to hate me.
Do you hate yourself? I hated myself. I couldn't help but hate myself for the things I thought I was responsible for. I thought I'd lost everything. But then you showed up. And my outlook just changed. There are always ways to show you care without ruining yourself over it. You need to look out for yourself in all this, too.
I don't get it. So often nothing you say makes any sense, but then
We're in
you
the
have
dark,
these
baby.
moments where you... I don't know. How do you do that? How have you been around for so long?
I guess I just have a resilient mind.
Breathtaking! The committee's gonna...
Okay, I had to take a minute there so that I didn't cry. I mean, I don't know what to say except that was just everything. Everything that I was hoping for and more. Thank God for Kinga in the dark. He's such a girl dad. And I know that his talk with Pomni had a big effect on her, so I was hoping for the same with Ragatha. Just from that opening line of like, having failed Pomni brings it back to what I was saying earlier when she was trying to keep trying to keep Kinga from being stuck with Jax. And I was like, she feels this, protectiveness over people, and they're adults, like they need to make their own choices. It's not only like diminishing their own choice, not intentionally or anything, but it also affects her. Feeling that responsibility over them is a lot of pressure. And then holy shit, the line that literally just, gave me goosebumps, broke my mind in two, that I failed Pomni just like I failed Jax. And there it is, baby. Because she mentions a little bit earlier on, implying that it's happened before, that Pomni's seen through all her tricks and now she doesn't like her anymore. And before she knows it, they're going to be a completely different person. And I just know, or rather I feel, that she's talking about Jax here too. That she tried too hard to get on his good side, which he's confirmed as well, and now she has confirmed. And that he kind of saw through it. And before she knew it, he was just someone completely different. And that adds so much to their dynamic, because not only does she not want him to hate her just because it's, as a people pleaser, she can't bear to have people hate her, and I get it, but also because she feels responsible for it, or maybe if she'd played her cards better, if she'd been better, and I don't know, was able to make him better, was able to keep him in check, or from devolving into like the character that he became and feeling responsibility over that would be very painful, especially now that we see, I guess it is confirmed then in my mind that she is projecting when she's like, oh, you corrupting Pomni, all this, and he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I wonder if she's projecting. And I think rather than actually thinking Jax is trying to turn Pomni like evil or corrupt her, she's worried that because of him, Pomni will further see through her tricks, as she said. And I know she doesn't mean tricks in like a nasty way of trying to trick people. I think she means trick more like tips and tricks, like the little skills she has in her back pocket that she uses to be nice or to make friends. Like, this worked last time, I'll use that trick next time to make someone happy, that kind of thing. And it's so true, because being a foil to Jax, again, in this sense, he actively puts up a facade and pushes people away, whereas she actively puts up a facade in order to try and bring people closer to her, but that ends up pushing them away. And this just broke my heart. Like, this scene is so emblematic of, I mean, it touched me so personally because I identify so much with Ragatha. Going back to what Gangle said about how can you like the parts of you that make you worse than everyone else. Like, sometimes it hits so much harder when you see the parts of yourself that you dislike the most or that you struggle with the most in someone else. It's really, really hard. But also, this is the kind of, like, the version of herself that if she showed to people, if she showed to Pomni, that is real. But I know she can't. I know that's not a reasonable ask. Like, why didn't she just do this? She can't. Like, she's been conditioned to behave a certain way, and, you know, that people pleaser mentality of she can't just all of a sudden decide to be authentic, because that wall is up almost against her will, keeping it in place. It's only in moments when that control is lost that she's able to be real, which maybe that's why Jax picks on her. I mentioned this last episode. Like, I wonder if he does this sometimes to distract her, or it's the only time they can have a real interaction, based on what he said stargazing. That don't you ever feel like she's trying too hard? He felt like she wasn't being genuine with him, and he seemed like quite affected by that. And I mused that I wonder if the only way he can get a real reaction out of her is by making her snap and get rid of that mask. And it's kind of, in a way, similar to what he did with Pomni this episode, of like, just lose control, like, let it out, let those negative emotions out. Because I'm maybe worried what will happen if you don't, and if they build up. That's interesting. But also going back to that protectiveness over people and feeling responsible for people, it's so sad seeing her like this, like, same as last episode, being torn in so many different directions, trying to help and get close to Pomni, but then Kinga needs her, so she's like, oh, I'm needed over here, being torn in so many different directions, trying to please everyone, so you end up pleasing no one. And now it's weighing on her so heavily. Like, I rejected Pomni. I said no. And her agonizing over, why did I do that? Why did I say no? Makes me think I might have been right. That she actually was saying no because she didn't want to be on a team with Pomni. Not because she doesn't like her, but honestly because maybe it's exhausting. Knowing that Pomni's kind of onto her, like, keeping that facade up, and, what did I say? Not knowing what version of herself she needs to be around Pomni, because Pomni sees through everything. So it's like being in an interaction where you have to mask all the time. It is so exhausting because every second of the interaction, you're overthinking everything you say, everything you do, every interaction, policing yourself in that way. And it's just so draining, and it's also can be really soul crushing, because if you make mistakes, then you're going to ruminate on them. Best believe, oh, you're going to go to sleep tonight, and every time you shut your eyes, you're going to see that moment when they made a face that you're like, oh god, they clocked me, or they're onto me, or that was the wrong thing to say. I could tell from their expression. It's so hard, and you can see how much that pressure affects her. I think that is true, maybe. Because if she knew why she said no, like, if she really just wanted Kinga to not be left alone with Jax, which I didn't think was that necessary of a, like, we need to keep these two apart. I was like, okay, maybe she's got a reason, but if that was the case, she'd know why she did it. And it wouldn't be saying no, it would be saying, oh, I think this is better actually. But she's admitting she said no, like, intentionally, but she's like, why did I do that? I think deep down she wanted to say no, and so she did, and used an excuse to back that up. But now she's like, why did I do that? I regret it. But as Kinga said, maybe she just needed a break. And she's very surprised by how lucid Kinga is in here. So I wonder if her sort of wanting to choose Kinga might have been knowing that she doesn't have to put on around him because 1, maybe he won't remember, 2, he won't care, 3, they don't have that kind of relationship where they're like close buddies or anything where she feels like she needs to earn their approval. Like Kinga has been here so long and that's not a dynamic that she really needs to fight for with him. And so it probably, even if she didn't realize it, was a lighter emotional load being partnered with him. And yeah, going back to, I guess, the reveal from last episode about her upbringing, she feels so much pressure to be there for everyone, and if she's not, she beats herself up for it. It's almost, we don't know that much about her family life, but she's really, really giving eldest daughter energy, like that she had siblings or people who relied on her at least, and she's bringing that with her. And finally, we're at the seen through all my tricks and she doesn't trust me anymore. And this is why I think that her fear about Jax and Pomni is less so about Jax and more so about her, because she knows the way that she is, saying she's seen through my tricks and doesn't trust me anymore. She's terrified of people seeing through her, but she can do nothing to stop it. And the more time Pomni spends with Jax, maybe the more likely she is to see it as well. But she's aware enough to know that Pomni has clocked it. And yeah, it's like the whole, if you ever need someone to talk to, she kind of played that card in the first episode. And that feels like one of her tricks. Like something she feels she's supposed to say, but if it's not preceded by any deep interaction or any like significant moment, it just feels unnatural. Hence Pomni's expression, like, out of nowhere, like, hey, if you need anyone to talk to, I'm here. It's like that. They weren't having a moment where that felt like a natural interjection. And it's like, yeah, thanks. It doesn't feel genuine because it wasn't built up to by anything. And there it is, the line that kills me. Before I know it, she'll be a different person and won't even want me around. That is so clearly, I think, about Jax. Like, oh, that breaks my heart. And King is just right on the money here. Thank goodness for the little loser, what's it called? I don't know, the loser corner, I'll say, where they are now. Thank goodness it's dark here because he's just cooking with this. And I'm so convinced he's a girl dad because it's like he's talking to his daughter right now. And that line just stuck with me. Obviously people they're going to go through things. You're not always responsible for everything. Relationships are a two-way street and people are going to make their own choices. And all that matters is that you're there when they need you and that giving someone space should not be the same as giving up on them. And it makes me think in the past maybe, because I've been there as well, those friendships where you put in all the effort and you just know that if you stop putting in the effort or you stop reaching out or stop making plans, you'll never see them again because they just never put in that effort. And I realized as well, you just have to let that go and you never know what people are going through. So if you stop reaching out and communication kind of dies out because you're no longer the one putting in so much effort, then that was never really a two-way relationship anyway. Or maybe they do need space, and if it's really, an important relationship, they'll be back, and all that matters is you're there, you're ready if they do need to talk. Or maybe it's a relationship that's just not meant to be. Maybe it served its purpose, and maybe it no longer serves you now. But it's, as Kinga has said, and as Ragatha said before, it's trying too hard to get on their good side, trying too hard to hold on to it. That's what pushes people away sometimes. And Kinga's little speech about what I think could be about survivor's guilt, maybe about everything he's lost, the blame that he thinks he has, the fault being on him, the things he thinks he was responsible for. I'm wondering if it was survivor's guilt about Queenie, because the "do you hate yourself" line goes so hard, and then him getting into the things he thought he was responsible for, but Ragatha ended up being kind of a light in the dark, or rather, for Kinga's sake, a dark in the light. He tends to do better in the dark. And it's nice to know that her levity and her lightness did help someone. But he just hit the nail on the head about you need to, you're important too. You need to prioritize yourself and you can be there for people without ruining yourself. I really hope this conversation has rippling effects into how Ragatha sees herself and also how she carries herself and lightens the load a little, and that she doesn't feel so much pressure in these bonds and these relationships. But yeah, I feel like I could talk about this scene for so long, going deeper and deeper on every single line, but conscious of time, I will move along and I'll keep it cooking and maybe revisit this if we see any effects from this conversation.
Committee's gonna love that.
The committee? Oh, Super Link Ankle. Where are they?
Yeah, we're still following you.
Where else would we be?
They're still following us.
All right, this is a long one. We're gonna have to run.
Oh, it's a straightaway. Duck and weave. Gangle's built well for this game.
Got so unlucky with the drops here.
It's time.
The Tommy gun.
Why'd you stop shooting? You out of ammo?
Why'd you stop? You out of ammo?
Pomni, got any ammo left?
I have one in the cylinder and one sniper round, but no sniper rifle.
Crap.
Laughing maniacally. The structural integrity of the pipe. The sniper. Yep. Oh. At least she had her moment with the Tommy gun, with her mask.
You're just gonna hide in your room?
Coward!
Oh?
Huh.
Oh!
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer.
Are you seriously gonna start singing that?
I'm half crazy, all for the love of you.
They harmonize nicely.
It won't be a stylish marriage. I can't afford a carriage, but you'll look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two. Oh wait, I have a key to Zubal's room.
Okay, I'm kind of losing it because obviously he has the key and I don't know if he really did just forget and remember at the end that he had the key or whether again he wanted to see what Pomni would do if he started singing. But am I crazy or did partway through that song it feel like they stopped singing, you know, to annoy Zubal and they kind of just got into it? Like they were harmonizing, the swinging around, like just singing to each other, just having a grand old time. Like you can't show me that and expect me to not giggle and kick my feet. Like what do you want from me?
A bicycle built for two. Oh wait, I have a key to Zubal's room.
Badass. Surely they're dead by now. Wait, that... Again, the symbolism is crazy. Because even in the song, they started like leaning towards each other. They ended at leaning towards each other. The in-sync moments from last episode when something would happen and they'd both lean and like kind of like make eye contact. And here, dying side by side with the hearts literally blinking out in sync. And this, I could not go on a tangent here because maybe I'll wait until we get a little bit more. But I have a feeling that they're showing so many moments of them getting along, being in sync, really like reaching each other. And there's all this worry about Pomni turning into Jax and like him corrupting her. But I think that, again, without him realizing, I think she is corrupting him a little bit without him meaning for it to happen. Like when she's around finding parts of himself that he otherwise like buried or, you know, tried to push down in order to be not real. Like, I just think this has really interesting implications for that because they keep showing the parallels between these two And I think Pomni's headstrong enough to, you know, big brain it, to stay true to herself, but I think little by little Jax is bending, is leaning more towards having these real interactions with her. And again, I think it's going to come to a moment where he retreats from that. And I'm going to be really, really sad. I'm going to be very sad. I'm not wanting that, but it's the same thing with the pattern recognition of Ragatha's behavior. Like, these things are being set up because I think they're going to culminate in the way you would expect them to. And that's just something I'm expecting. But yeah, you know what they say about assuming makes an ass out of you and Ming. So, sorry, Ming. Oh, game's over.
I can get him.
Wait!
Trust me, partner, I got this.
Partner in crime. What? First of all, I know this is the least consequential part of that entire scene. There is so much that just happened there that I want to talk about, that the way he said that, what was that? That was the most don't go wait that I've ever heard. Listen, like they just woke up from their kind of being dead days, and her running off to get Zubul without even thinking, like it was clearly on reflex, reaching out and saying, wait. And then literally her saying, I mean, I know I said partners in crime, but her saying, trust me, partner. When she said partner, his wide eyes like kind of flinched a little bit. And then the hand droops, the face drops, then into a scowl. And I don't know if this is him realizing what he's let happen, how close he's let them get. But this is what cinches it for me. That, again, it could be a mixture of these things. It could be none of them. But I was thinking that maybe he was worried with the whole, let it go, let all your negative emotions out. I thought that maybe he was worried that she was going to abstract. But then when Ragatha said, I know what you're trying to do, you're trying to corrupt her, and he freaked out and looked very shaken, I was like, maybe he thinks that he himself thinks, or other people think that he corrupted the others, or maybe he was partly to blame for other people abstracting in some way. And what this scene kind of solidifies for me, or at this point, what I think, is her saying partner and him looking so, I don't even know. I can't even describe how he looked in that moment. Then to look at Kaufmo, almost look angry or indignant, look to the side, and then see our froggy friend, who I've been told is called Ribbit. And, I mean, I've been told it's not in the show yet, or not been confirmed, but that she identifies as a lady. So that's an interesting parallel to Pomni. But him going through the motions like that, from partner to Kaufmo to Ribbit, and then kind of shaking him out of the daze to run away, all that together puts together a picture for me that maybe this is that culminating moment where he's kind of realized how close he's let Pomni get, maybe close enough that he considered her a friend, like Kaufmo, because we know he was closer to Kaufmo and like Ribbit, who we never met. And also, like I mentioned last episode, I completely forgot about this, that when Ragatha mentioned, you know, not anymore, like he doesn't have real friends anymore, we know what she was actually talking about, I think, maybe being her, but it kind of sounded like, and I think he took it that way, she said it with a lot of vitriol, like it was his fault almost, not anymore, like thanks to him kind of thing. That's just a vibe I got from it. It's not what she said. That's just me reading into the tone. So I'm wondering if he correlates proximity to him with abstraction, that maybe he pushes people away because he thinks if he lets them close enough to be a friend, to be his partner, his buddy, that they don't have long left, because obviously they weren't there when Queenie abstracted. I don't know about any of the others, how many of them witnessed how many abstractions, but the two characters other than Queenie that we've focused on who have abstracted, both of those seem to have been Jax's friends. Oh, there's so much to unpack there, and I'm gonna keep thinking, but those moments of vulnerability, calling out for her almost in a don't go capacity, either because he didn't want to be left alone or because he was worried about her or for any number of reasons, followed by that sequence of events I think maybe he's realizing to his detriment that he's let Pomni get a bit closer than he intended, and maybe him shaking himself out of that funk. Maybe he's made a resolution to kind of stop that in its tracks. I genuinely don't know, but oh, fuck. One heart left each. I mean, her and Jax, but... Oh, using what Jax taught ya. Shooting too realistically, just... have fun, you're a cartoon.
That's actual bullshit. Ow.
Yeah. But hey, Kinga can make stuff up. Oh.
Well, shit, man. Guess that's the end of that. See you on the flip side.
Slay. Oh, it was Luna. It was Loser Corner.
We did it! We make such a good team.
Oh, no, 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 I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. Okay, I have a really fun idea, and I think you guys will really like it. I think you guys will really like my idea. So I'm actually just not going to watch the rest of the episode. I think Pomni and Jax won, and Zubul went to the loser corner, which I was just guessing. I can't believe it actually was the loser corner. I completely forgot that. And then after winning, Pomni said they made a really great team. And she gave him a hug, and then it quickly cut away to the end credits, and that's actually the end of the episode. Strange, we didn't hear about the favourite character awards again. That was weird. Weird setup and not payoff, but that's how it ended. So, yeah, thanks for watching. And okay, obviously I'm not going to do that to you, but I really don't want to watch what's to come, guys. I think I was right. I paused in my stress, in my trauma response to get this off my screen, but I saw the look of panic on his face as he shoved her off just out of reflex. Guys, no, it's not happening. It's not going to happen, I don't think. I'm in denial, but I think I have to face the music now and watch this. And as soon as I heard her say, "We make a really great team," I knew this is about to go tits up, because she's being earnest, and oh, the push away innings are now, I think. I need more tea. Okay, I'm back. I took another tiny break because I needed to emotionally prepare and need to hydrate more as well. Okay, I'm ready to have a mental breakdown, I think. Yay! Let's finish the episode.
What?
Holy shit. I didn't even clock this until... Huh? What the fuck is going on? I was so focused. So many revelations. Let me put a pin in my first one. As I was about to explain why this scene rocked me to my very core, I realized I was seeing like Gangle's ribbons, and then I saw some behind Kinga and Ragatha too. I wasn't really paying attention. I was like, well, why do they have like ribbons? They look like tails almost. And then I looked up at their faces. This was so Gangle's idea. The little weeb that she is. Even she's got the little like cat mouth thing, I noticed, especially when she's being cheeky. So this makes sense. It looks like they're just having a fun time down here, honestly. I love that for them. But now Zubul's confusion makes more sense. I didn't even notice at first because I knew something was coming with Jackson Pomni above. But my pin, I cannot believe it, but I think I might have been right about the free-for-all thing. Because as I saw this scene again, going into the scene I don't want to watch, I realised that 4 of them are down here, all partners, and only Jackson Pomni are left. But the game's not over. Or if it is, they're still just chilling in the loser corner for some reason. But I thought that when Jackson Pomni were hit at the door, I thought they went down to 1 heart and then they disappeared, because I thought they had each of their hearts taken. And Zubul was the only one left. So I thought that was like, oh, Zubul won the game kind of thing. I thought it disappearing with 1 heart left on each meant that the heart was gone, but that the game was like over. So it went away. Until I realized that, oh no, they do have 1 heart left. So that's why I'm like, if 2 of the 3 sets of pairs are gone, wouldn't everyone just teleport back because the adventure's over? Or are we going to turn on each other? And we're still holding guns, I think. Oh my, no, guys. No. I denounce it, I rebuke it, I choose not to believe it. Okay, I'm stalling. Let's see where this is going.
We make such a good team.
Well, to be fair, our competition wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah, true. I suppose this is the part where one of us betrays the other.
Okay, I'm gonna be frank. I don't know if the conversation or scene that I'm not supposed to pause in was the Pomni Jax one when she decided to be evil Pomni, or the Ragatha and Kinga one, which I didn't pause in because it was flowing so nicely and I just had to hear their full thoughts first before going back. I'm sorry, this is not a scene that I can not pause in because every little frame has something I need to comment on, and best believe that once I finish talking, I kind of go back a bit and watch and I let the scene flow. It's not as abrupt as you see it in the edit. I just don't want to replay tons of footage that you will have already seen yourself. But I'm not going to be able to not pause. It's just not going to happen. So if you need to see this scene without it being paused, you're going to have to make your peace with the fact that you're not going to find it here. Because what the fuck is this? I was just giggling to myself thinking, oh, haha, Pomni, she's either still playing into the evil persona or, I mean, she's kind of brushed off that rejection because obviously it shook her a little bit. But this is what makes me think maybe she's big braining, because instead of just getting a bit dejected and walking away, she was like, oh, that kind of hurt, but brush it off. And she kind of refocused and maybe rechanged tactics, which makes me think that she has a goal here, trying to get him to open up, or maybe, I don't know, but she's doing something here. Definitely. And so for her to be the one to whip out the one of us is going to betray the other, I'm like, I mean, I knew this was coming, but I thought Jax was going to turn on her. But then I saw him standing there, staring at his hand. And oh boy, do we have things to talk about. The crazy thing is, as she was so excited and happy, she's like, we won, we did it. He was like smiling down at her. Maybe it was his fake little smile, I don't know. But I personally feel like when he smiles for real, it's these ones. Has kind of like a little downturned look looking at her and a bit of a half smile, and it feels like a more natural smile. It's not like that put on like full, almost like Alistair smile. And so when he was looking down at her after she was all excited, I was like, he looks genuinely like he's just maybe not overjoyed, happy, but very content, like he's pleased with how that went. And for the first few moments after she hugs him, he kind of maintains that and he's smiling until he kind of clocks to himself what's just happened. And he's like, oh, no. Because when he does that fake smile, it's almost rounded at the corners like that Cheshire Cat one. And this is a much more, like, it's still a big smile, but it's more subdued and the eyes look more genuine too. And then when she hugs him, it's like his face contorts in surprise, but he's pleased. Like he's still got the smile. And then as he's realized what happened, the brows kind of come down in surprise, but he still looks pleased. And he like has a natural, like pleasant reaction to that. And then the fear hits like a freight train. And what I noticed is with his maybe his right too. Well, the right's holding the gun. But with his left hand, he like grabs and he shoves her, specifically with the left hand. And then he looks shocked at what he's done. Then he looks like disgusted, or he looks distressed with either what's just happened and then what he's done and then what that all means maybe. But he's looking down at his hand, looks away to the side, a little bit of shame, shakes his head as the facade comes back. Excellent performance, sir. And then when he brings the facade back up, it's such an obvious switch up. I feel like if she wasn't planning something or intentional in the way that I was going to say approached him, but really he kind of approached her first, or rather he initiated trying. He would always like come up to her, hey Pomni this, hi Pomni that. And I feel like if she was just sort of going along with the motions, she would take that kind of rejection and switch up as, oh, okay, whatever, I guess I'll go. But she like refocuses. She re-strategizes in this moment. She kind of shakes it off herself, sort of thinks, and then turns. And then that's when the betrayal talk comes up. I wonder if she thinks if she plays his game, if she plays the game like this, then she can get through to him, maybe? Because he clearly is reticent to accept any genuine expression of companionship or emotion or whatever. And so she's like recalibrated. I know the language he speaks. Let's bring in some betrayal talk. Let's keep the game going. Keep it lighthearted on the surface. But then as she turns, he's just blankly looking at his hand. And this is obviously either still looking at his hand after pushing her away, either because of the act of like pushing her away, he's looking symbolically like, what the hell was that? Either her hugging him or his reaction to it, because he must know that he massively let the mask slip there, the panic and fear on his face. Whereas if it was disgust or Jax was like, get the hell off me, he had ways of doing that weren't that reaction. That was very clearly like against his will almost. The panic of just, I need to end this, whatever this is. Or symbolically, it could be like looking at the, when you have blood on your hands, not literally, but maybe he's still thinking back to Kofma and Rivet. Maybe. I'm less inclined towards that, but it's a potential, especially based on his face. He's so blankly looking at it like, what the hell was that? I feel like it might be the former, but I'm not ready.
One of us betrays the other.
He's not even, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can betray me.
Oh, I thought this was gonna be a mutual thing.
Nah, go on, do it.
I don't really want to.
Lame! Come on, I thought you were cool.
We could just be winners as a team.
Together.
We're not a team, come on.
What do you mean? Yes, we are.
Delusional.
Projection.
Kind of bonding over being chaotic evil together.
That's what I'm saying. Because like obviously she's not going to the dark side. Like it was very clear multiple times throughout that it wasn't natural to her, that she was putting on this performance. And her saying that we're being chaotic evil together, I'm like, I knew it. She's trying to get through to him. She's trying to speak his language. I can't say for certain what her goal is or whether she is trying to get through to him, whether she's trying to get him to open up, whether any or all, or like there's so many things it could be. So I'm not, speaking hard and fast about why, but it's very clear that she's trying to, again, bond. She's like, weren't we bonding? And that's why the switch up of like, let's betray each other. It goes back to the, oh, you'd like that, or how's that? She's trying to gauge maybe how he's having fun or how she can sort of speak his language, as it were. And this little moment was crazy because I think if that little moment before hadn't happened, he'd play along with this and like, play the betrayal game. But I think he knows now that whatever he does as a reaction is like, he needs to tamp that down as much as possible. Any real reaction. So the most removed thing that he can do right now is not play. Like, okay, you can betray me. Yeah, whatever. Because if he behaves that way, it shows he doesn't care. He's got no stake in this game. He's not invested in it at all. He's actually quite bored. He doesn't really care. And you can just see the way Pomni's face fell. And like, oh, I thought this was going to be a mutual thing. I'm like, yeah, he knows that's what you thought. That's why he's not playing along. It reminds me of the moment earlier when she's like, oh, I'm learning a lot about you today. And he recalibrates, has that freezing moment, and then brings it back to, now let's play the game. Let's shoot some people. He, in not dissimilar away to Ragatha, is calculating and making certain moves to try and either bring people closer or push people away. And it's like the power's back in his hands now. It's refocused now that the facade's back up. It's not Pomni gauging what he's going to do. It's the other way around because the wall's back up. There's just the quintessential pushing away. I mean, in a literal sense, but also the denying that they were even a team. It's serving his purpose of pushing her away, but it almost goes too far in the other direction, because if Jax really didn't care about any of this, about this moment, about the two of them, then I don't even think it's like the opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference. And he's pretty strongly, disavowing the fact that they're a team. He's like, we are not a team. Come on. There's no mutual fun to be had here. We didn't do this together, kind of thing. Like, not so strongly, but it is giving a little bit, thou doth protest too much. He's specifically countering that one assertion of, no, we're not a team. And it's more for him, I think, than her. He needs to verbalize that and like announce it. Whereas if he really didn't care, I think he'd just brush it off and be like, okay, whatever you say, you can think that. But he is making an active effort to make it known to her that, this is nothing. This isn't anything. And like, again, obviously Pomni sees straight through the bullshit, because I think even if she can't get him to admit it here, her saying, yes, we are. Yeah, we're a team. Because they quite literally are. They teamed up. Like, it's an indisputable fact that they were a team. Maybe not right this second, but they were. And it's so obvious. I mean, it's obvious to us, but even if Pomni were to think back, I'm sure she knows that whatever's happening here, it's him pushing away. But juxtapose this scene with her running after Zubul to get them and him calling out, wait, oh, so you're not a team? What was that about? Interesting. Who's the delusional one now, Jax? But this is so hard to watch. Oh god, there's still like 10 minutes left. I'm so scared. I'm already... Don't get me wrong, I actually really love to see this because it's so many things I've been thinking, but also they've been set up, like coming to fruition. And this is a very natural point for his character to be at. It would obviously make no sense if all of a sudden he was happy-go-lucky and willing to let people in. Same as Ragatha, she was still struggling with those things, and I hope that after Kinga's chat, she can sort of incorporate some of that. And I mean, they were having fun in the loser corner. Maybe she mentioned Gangle and Zubul didn't really like talking to her, but we all have different views of ourselves and views of how other people view us. Like Gangle thinking no one wanted to talk to her anymore after the mask debacle. Gangle thinking Zubul's like cool, calm and collected, confident, no issues at all about how they see themselves. And Ragatha thinking that Zubul and Gangle both, don't like her. I mean, they might be a bit sus about some of the things she says sometimes, like Gangle wanting to believe she's sincere, but like, oh, I don't really know how sincere she is sometimes. It's definitely repairable. So I really hope that we see that shift, or at least how that affects her going forward, because I think that's been done in a really nice way. And likewise, this had to come. I knew it was coming, but I don't want it. I don't want it. But it makes sense and we need it. And this is very thematically consistent. It wouldn't make sense any other way. So while I'm glad this is happening, I hate to watch it happen. Okay, let's go.
Delusional.
Weren't we kind of bonding over being chaotic evil together?
I was merely entertaining you because I thought it was funny. Now are you gonna shoot me or what?
Did I do something wrong?
You sound like Ragatha right now. No wonder we're not a team.
No, I mean, we were doing fine, having fun, talking. But you suddenly
You're not committing. Do it.
If I shoot you right now, are we still gonna be friends afterwards?
We were never friends.
What about all that stuff you told me?
Yeah, I did tell you a lot, didn't I? Not looking forward to thinking about that tomorrow.
No, we're not doing this. You're not gonna look me in the eye and tell me nothing we've been doing together meant anything to you, because I know that's not true.
Are you coming on to me? Yeah.
Oh my fucking god. Bro, shut the fuck up. Oh my god. Oh, I can't. This is so uncomfortable to watch. I'm like getting secondhand embarrassment from him, honestly, because I know he's the one acting all lackadaisical and like he doesn't care. But after everything that they've been through, it's so transparent that it actually just makes me feel bad and like embarrassed for him. Because like, we all know who the delusional one here is. And we see it slip for a tiny little bit again. And it's often when he's like talking to himself a little bit, because everything he says in that certain voice with that certain face is bullshit. And that's when he said, we were never friends. He said it in that way. That clearly signals that that's not true. And then when she mentions everything that they talked about, it's like he can't contain himself. He keeps on breaking a little bit before slipping back into it. Just surprised with himself, like, yeah, I did tell you a lot. And then I'm not looking forward to having to think about that later. It's once again a foil to Ragatha in a way, because she ruminates on what she says to other people in the sense that like, oh, they won't like me after that. Whereas he probably ruminates on, oh, I shouldn't have said that. They're going to see right through me. I can't believe I let that slip. That kind of thing. And like, he knows that he let her in and that he didn't realize he was doing it, and he's like, yeah, damn it. And it's like, because of that, it's too late. She sees right through it, as she said. And I love her putting her foot down. No, we are not doing this. You can't bullshit me and pretend like everything we've been doing meant nothing, because I know that's not true. And I really appreciate that, because oftentimes, again, I will play, and I'm happy to be proven wrong if this eventually happens. But I really appreciate this, because sometimes it makes sense, but I hate it in some media when a person all of a sudden flips the switch and is like, you fell for my trap, like I never actually cared about you. Yeah, I played you kind of thing. And they get really upset. No, I can't believe I fell for it. Oh, this is terrible. Oh no, I'm so sad. And they walk away and like believe it. And then the person, you see them and they're like, oh, I pushed them away. I didn't actually mean it, to themselves. And you're like, come on. Babe, see right through this shit. Like, you're smarter than this. You can see that they're bullshitting you right now. And I know sometimes it's important for the plot, or it's like a third act breakup or something like that. But there are some characters where it doesn't make sense for them to just believe the bullshit, especially when a character like Jax is known for being a bullshitter. He has this facade up. She can tell, as we can tell, when he's dropped it and when he's being real with her. And he has been real. So for him to put it up back now, she's like, no, we're not doing that. Like, you can't fool me by just pretending again. Like, it's so obvious. And I appreciate that she's a smart character. And maybe eventually, if he keeps being really mean, she will give up on it. Like, this is not worth it. If you want to believe that this was nothing, then go ahead. Like, I'm done, kind of thing. But she doesn't believe his bullshit. She sees straight through him, and I love her for it. And then once again, he breaks a little bit in that way that he did. And I wonder if some of his expressions mean certain things, especially when his mouth gets all small or disappears like that. But this is exactly the face he made when Ragatha apologized. And I think it might mean, or rather, I call it like his catnip face. I associated it last time with if someone said something that really surprised him, or that deeply moved him, or maybe it's just he never expected them to say that, and so it shocked him so much he like couldn't hide his expression. And that would be consistent with what Ragatha said. He never thought she would actually apologize, and so he's looking like that. And then after what Pomni said of, you can't tell me this meant nothing, because I know that's not true. Maybe that, you know, it reached him, but then he's got to close up again. It's so painful. And it's really, you know, reflecting real life as well, because sometimes you just try really hard to get through to someone and you know you are, but they refuse to believe it themselves, or they choose to be delusional or ignore it, or, you know, put the walls back up even though you know that they were affected by it, or you reach them. It's just, you can't help people if they don't want to help themselves, and it's just, it's so painful. And then for him to say, like, you're coming on to me. Oh my god. Oh, this is so painful.
Not true.
Are you coming on to me? Yeah, that's what everybody wants. A straight couple.
Oh my god. Can you take this seriously? Can you take
For
anything
once.
seriously?
Dude, you're a cartoon clown. How am I supposed to take you seriously?
You reached out to me, not the other way around. You're just gonna pretend that didn't happen?
You must be misremembering.
Delusional.
Is this why you didn't show up to Kaufmo's funeral?
I don't show up to any funerals.
Yeah, I bet you don't. Because you're scared. You're scared you'll actually show a human emotion.
I'm scared I'll be bored to tears.
Have you ever thought that this might be what causes people to abstract in the first place?
Oh my god! Are you seriously gonna blame me for something that everybody else did too? You didn't even know him! You don't even know what people are like before they abstract. They are not pleasant to be around. Like at all!
Like you?
I'm sorry.
I'm sure you are. Oh, man. This was all sorts of embarrassing, huh? So, you're gonna shoot me or what?
What would you do if I abstracted tomorrow?
I'd move on. And probably forget about you.
Okay.
Okay. I understand.
Not yourself.
Jeez, you really can't take a joke, can you?
Okay, fuck these two. Yeah, I need to... God, if this was a scene and y'all thought I was possibly going to make it through without pausing once, you're the delusional ones, because I need a break in between mood shifts in these kind of scenes, because it's just so much. Also, this was hilarious because, I feel called out because in this specific show, right now, in this specific moment, maybe not this specific moment, but as a whole, you know, I want the straight couple this time. I am very invested in this dynamic, be it platonic or romantic or anywhere in between. I think I heard someone say that they're not planning on introducing romance actually, but there doesn't have to be like a romantic plot for there to be romantic vibes or tension or a subplot or an undercurrent of that. It doesn't have to be. If this was intended to be purely platonic, I'm not mad at that. I'm not questioning it, but my interpretation of it is that there's something going on here, or at least I feel the vibes, and I think I know that I'm not alone there, but they do make such a good team. I can't. And again, I'm so glad she's calling him out on his bullshit. Even if she's very hurt by this, I mean, she's probably not surprised, but it's obviously not easy to hear things like this, even if you know that they're bullshitting. But she doesn't have to do the emotional labor here to try and get through to him. But I appreciate that she's doing it anyway, because she could just brush this off like, this is not worth the effort, like, fuck you, man, go away. But she's pointing out the holes in his argument, in his cognitive dissonance, reminding him, like, you did this, remember this, that was you. That wasn't me. What? And you think I'm silly enough to believe this meant nothing? And he's very clearly just saying things to hurt her on purpose, like, how can I take you seriously? Look at you. Whereas if you juxtapose all of these scenes with ones from previously in this episode, like when he's helping her let go, like, who do you want to be? Choose. When he is taking her seriously in a lot of these scenes, he's so transparent. And as I was saying, he reached out to her. That's what I was trying to articulate earlier, is that he was always like, hi, Pomni, hey, Pomni. He's trying to make that connection first, even for whatever motive that he had, irrespective of that. And the fact that she's now made an effort in return, and he's kind of spitting in her face about it. I love that she's throwing that back in his face, like, you did this. Not the other way around. You approached me. So don't make it out like I'm obsessed with you, or I'm coming on to you, or I'm, I don't know, making something out of nothing when nothing is there. Like, look in the mirror yourself. You started this bond. Ugh. And this moment is actually a parallel to something maybe 10 seconds later or something, when she ends up saying, I'm sorry. He's like, yeah, I'm sure you are. With that look on his face. Because they mean such different things. It's almost him being called out in both instances. Because when she says to him, like, about, I don't show up to any funeral, she's like, yeah, I bet you don't. It's like, you're not fooling anyone. That's what I'm saying. I know you don't show up to these things because you can't let a real human emotion show. God forbid you let something real show. I bet you didn't go. And then when he says it back to her, yeah, I'm sure you are. Like, yeah, I bet you're sorry. It's more of like a pained expression. Like, it's complicated because even though she's not the one who needs to be apologizing. The fact that she did anyway, because I think she knows, even though it's not her fault, she pushed him too far in terms of he couldn't handle it. So, like, she did nothing wrong, but I think she knows that he, like, went beyond capacity of what he can allow right now, and he kind of overflowed a bit. So her apology was real, I think. And his little chagrined look, maybe it was pity of like, yeah, I'm sure you are. Like, what must it be like to, feel apologetic and sorry? I don't feel that way. Kind of like putting distance between them with that. But it's just such an interesting parallel for such different emotions. And then, of course, he cracks once again when she says that, have you ever thought that maybe this is what gets people to abstract? Which is a thought that I was starting to think, but the look on his face is just like, oh, it's chilling. And maybe he truly, deep down, does feel like she overstepped there because she's new. She hasn't had to face person after person abstracting for who knows why. And so being faced with the pain of it and her saying maybe this is why people abstract to his face, maybe that kind of almost confirms to him that he feels like she's blaming him. Like her saying, maybe this, what you're doing right now, is why people abstract. And now maybe he's thinking of his two friends who abstracted. And maybe once again, blaming himself. I mean, he even kind of says it here and he's like, are you seriously going to blame me for something that everyone else did too? But I think he feels more personal responsibility for it than that. And this is really painful because obviously he's fully snapped here. And he's like, obviously you're new here. You didn't even know him, but you don't know what people are like before they abstract. They're not pleasant to be around. And I mean, my first thought when this was happening was like, what? Like you right now? And we'll get to that. But this just makes me think, I mean, I don't know exactly what abstraction is a parallel for, but it makes me think of depression and the like, or any mental health struggle, just some things that, might make someone more difficult to be around or interact with at a certain time, and can lead to self-sabotaging or, withdrawing, pulling away from people. Maybe they're not that pleasant to be around, and then maybe something happens, or maybe they, do something that affects their health and safety. Let's say some form of, self-harm, maybe in one way or another, maybe to the full end of that spectrum. Because I'm sort of seeing some guilt in Jax along that line of, you don't know what it was like. You don't know how unpleasant it was to be around them at that time. Like, it's not my fault that I wasn't there. That's kind of what it's giving me. The whole they were unpleasant to be around. Maybe he's saying that as a justification of, it wasn't my fault, they were being unpleasant, which is why I wasn't there to help, or something. It feels like he's being defensive in that moment. But also the fact that they weren't pleasant to be around before they abstracted. In what way? And then that gets to what I think might be the point of this, which is because, like, they weren't pleasant at all. Oh. And then he kind of freezes, and my thought, because I said it at the time, I think, was, what, like you? Maybe he clocked in this moment here that the way he was acting, maybe he's not that far from abstraction himself after all. It feels like that maybe that was going through his head.
Like at all?
And then he kind of goes back to, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sure you are.
Once again, these little moments of obviously not a positive emotion, but something real coming through. Like the voice drops, the facial expression is, oh, I can't do this. And then I know he's playing this off here, but that's what I was saying when I was like, I'm getting secondhand embarrassment. Him saying, yeah, that was all kinds of embarrassing. It's obviously playing it off with that voice, but he turns away and his face is kind of, shy about it, like a bit embarrassed. Once again, turning away to hide the look on his face. And God, I'm not ready for this scene. I'm not ready, because this is exactly what I was talking about facing away. When she says, which is why I'm like, she's so smart. She navigates these situations and these other people so well in a way that's true to herself. I think that's a really poignant question to ask, that what would you do if I abstracted tomorrow? Which I think is what he was thinking about after he called wait, and when he was looking at the door of Kaufmo and Rivet. I wonder if that's a thought that crossed his mind now that they were getting closer, now that they were a team.
Abstracted tomorrow.
The way he he clearly, we don't get to see his face at the time, which is so, tantalizing. I want to know in that moment before he schooled his expression. I want to know what he looked like. But the way he literally changes his posture, like straightens up, clearly adopts almost a literal mask, a facade, and changes his voice, you can tell how bullshit it is. And it's like he's doing everything within his power to be neutral about what he's saying.
I'd move on. And probably forget about you.
Oh, that scene. It's such a small detail, but I think it's very emblematic of how far he's actually come in terms of, he can push her away all he likes, but he can deny it to her face right now, maybe deny it to himself, but deep down, like, he can't hide it, because he clearly needed a minute to collect himself and not let what he's really feeling show, to the point where he can't even use his normal, like, sarcastic voice, only to say, probably. Because he's speaking truth right now. I would move on. That's true. That's true. Same with Kaufmo and Ribbit. It doesn't mean he doesn't think about them, but he probably forces himself not to. He has moved on from that. And by that, I mean he's probably compartmentalized and, not going to the funerals. He's probably a little bit in denial as well, or at least stopping himself from feeling anything about that, like he's doing right now. But he let it slip. He could have just said, I'd move on and I'd forget about you. But he didn't say that. And I think that's really important. The fact that he said, I'd probably forget about you. Probably. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Are you saying you might not? Because probably doesn't mean absolutely. Even just in that little slip alone, it's like he's revealing that, try as he might, and he might do his best to forget. But even as we see with Kaufmo and Ribbit, it's certainly not a foolproof plan. Maybe he can delude himself into thinking he's forgotten, but we clearly see that he hasn't. I just think the use of probably there was so... I can't. And then literally, like, what are you supposed to say to that? But Pomni and I said it at the same time. Oh my God. That was crazy. Because, yeah, she's put her cards on the table. Again, them asking each other questions that mean so much. And I think gauging his response to that was maybe deciding how she's going to move forward with their relationship going forward. If that was a moment when he was going to, be real, or maybe it was a last-ditch effort to get a reaction out of him, or maybe even how worth it is to try and get closer, bond, make this work, because although, yeah, he approached first and he did, she did almost too good of a job because she clearly got close enough to affect him and bring out real emotion. And as much as I think she's very smart for all of this and that there was a lot of intentionality in trying to bring out those other sides of him and really get to know him in earnest, I also think that she's probably maybe has too much self-respect to torture herself and keep trying when someone clearly doesn't want your help, or even if they want it, they won't let you give it to them. There's only so much that you can do for your own mental health, for your own like sanctity of self. You have to take a step back and let it go. And I wonder if that was kind of a litmus test for him, how he reacted to that question, because her quiet, like, okay, she's like internally deciding something within herself of what that interaction as a whole means to her, and potentially could lead to, if this is what it is to you, like after kind of all that we went through, the bonding, if that's how you're going to behave towards me and push me away, then okay, I'll accept that. I'm not gonna come crawling after you and try and, get any crumb of attention I can get. Like, we're at an impasse here. Fuck, and you've got to stop giving me these little expressions. I'm actually gonna jump out the fucking window. Because the motif has come back when she turns away. Obviously, she's the one hiding her expression now, or turning away from him, or even symbolically maybe turning her back on him. But the minute his face is no longer visible to her, the expression drops and I don't think he's happy with hurting her. I don't necessarily think he regrets everything that he just said, or maybe even if he does regret it, he wouldn't have done it differently. Like, there is no way he could have reacted any other way based on what we know about him and the journey that he's on. He's not there yet, but I don't think he enjoys actively hurting her, or I think maybe deep down, I mean, I know that he knows that it meant something, as Pomni does too. But I think there's a tiny part of himself that is like, he put his foot down, and I wonder if he thought that maybe she would keep trying okay, I understand, and turning away. A very, a mature response to it. It's like a look on his face of, I wish that could have been different kind of thing. Or maybe even that, not that he went too far, but I feel like in trying to push her away, maybe he let more emotion slip than he was hoping to, because he got very animated and, was very emotional, hysterical even. And I don't know, it could even be a look of, okay, I did what was necessary. I've got to keep people at arm's length for whatever reason, maybe because in case they abstract, or maybe even for his own mental sanctity. Maybe, I think he does blame himself maybe, but even if he doesn't, it still hurts if he lets someone get close to him and then they abstract. So he can avoid that altogether by keeping people away from him. I thought she was going to shoot herself for a minute.
Jeez, you really can't take a joke, can you?
Not the time, Jax.
You're not the funny one!
I don't think that counts. Hey, what are you doing?
Fight back!
Are you crazy?
I said fight back!
Stop! What's wrong with you?
Why didn't you fight back?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Because I didn't fight back, that means I secretly care about you? I'm just a misunderstood little chicken fetus in an egg that needs to be cracked open. Well, I am not. I do not care about you or anyone else in this circus in the slightest. End of story. You are my playthings, and I get joy out of making you suffer. I'm the one who causes pain for fun. If I led you on, it was just to make this part hurt you more.
This is so funny because anytime he brings chaos, and so many of these were reminiscent of things he's done, like her biting his leg reminded me of, last episode, like chewing on Gangle as a ribbon, and also his evil counterpart. But it feels like the only times we've seen him actively like go to hurt someone, or like in episode 2 when he pushed Pomni off the truck to see what she would do, or it ended up with Gangle and Ragatha like stuck with knives because they were in like the back of the truck or something and he had knives everywhere. He's never really had a violent outburst where, you know, attacking people like in an argument, like last episode's, you know, Outback adventure aside, and then like the AI evil him, they weren't moments of anger or anything. And so, especially with, you know, villainous characters, it's interesting to see when chaos is being caused and Pomni's instigating this physical like fight, he is floundering. He's like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? It's almost like those moments he has scripted them or like planned in his head, like, I'm gonna do this, how funny is this gonna be? But in a moment of actual tension and like a fight, it's not innately in him to want to hurt her, like physically or otherwise, I think. And she kept telling him to fight back. And the most he did was like throw her off him, screaming, stop, and like, what is wrong with you? And it's interesting because earlier in the episode, he was like, unleash all those negative emotions, go crazy, like with the gun. But I don't think he actually wants her to change or, you know, become evil Pomni. Like, not really. It's like when someone else brings the chaos, he has no idea what to do. He didn't plan for this. So it's interesting seeing, I mean, maybe she did it to, I don't know, prove, I mean, we'll get to it, that he doesn't want to hurt her, or maybe she did it because he was being so calculated and, you know, with the facade plastered on, that maybe she was just trying to catch him off guard, because as soon as she did, he's back. He doesn't know what to do. And then we get to, this is what I kind of spoke about last episode of, you fall into the danger. I mean, you can huff that hopium, but there is something to be said of romanticizing bad people and bad actions, especially men characters, and especially when that comes with demonizing like a woman character as part and parcel of that. And, you know, talks about how you could take things charitably or uncharitably, but it's obvious that he is hiding something deeper down and is trying to keep people at surface level, keep things, you know, not going any deeper than that. I think out of self-preservation, he needs that. But then this is such a common trope as well. He's almost proving himself wrong by even saying any of this. Like, here we go, stop looking for something more, stop looking for the good in me, you're not going to find it, stop expecting that of me. But by having this kind of outburst, he's almost actively proving how invested he is in getting her to stop looking for it, stop trying to find any good in him. And I think there's something to be said here of expectations as well. Like, you know, if people see good, they expect good. And he probably doesn't want to have to live up to any of those expectations that people might have, so let people see the worst in him. But this is so biting. I mean, all she did was ask, why didn't you fight back? And he gets so with the, oh, so you guess you think I secretly care about you? And then he almost has to double down to prove, like, I don't care about you or anyone else here. And it almost goes into, I know Pomni doesn't think this, and I don't think he really thinks this himself, but it does almost go into the infantilizing way that I was mentioning. People talk about characters like Jax, and I mentioned Astarion as well, where people swing wildly in either direction of, they're awful people, they're abusers, they're manipulative, they're terrible, all the way to the end of, oh, but he's so baby girl and sweet, like, he's just misunderstood, you know. People are more complex than that. And that also does lean into romanticizing. So I love that this did get brought up, because in a way this is breaking the fourth wall just for that those select few people who do think that, you know, a little chicken fetus and an egg that needs to be cracked open, and in that analogy almost mothered, like cared for, like he's just a baby girl. It's so interesting that that is at the forefront of his mind of like, stop looking. It really does give me, I mean, it is a trope, but the classic, you can't change me, there's no good in me, like stop looking for it, it's in your imagination. And the fact that he gets so emotional about this, like maniacal, of you're like my toys, my playthings, here for my entertainment, it really feels more like he's speaking to himself, like solidifying that in his own mind, rather than trying to convince Pomni of anything. And the thing that gives the most credence to that for me is he's so emphatically saying these things like, I want you to suffer, I get joy out of that, out of making you miserable, that's for my entertainment. But I feel like if he really meant that, he'd be saying it in the usual voice. he is off the rails right now. He's trying to maybe convince her enough to push her away, but also convince himself, like, this is the way that I'm acting, in a big push people away effort. But like I said, the opposite of love is not hate. It's not this vitriol. It's indifference. And he's very clearly not indifferent to anything happening here. Like, he's just very mentally unstable. I mean, understandably, it's not a surprise, especially given everything they've all gone through. Maybe especially him, once we learn more about Cosmo and Ribbit and his role in that, or his role in not helping with that, and just him so emphatically reiterating and speaking to the camera at this point, almost breaking the fourth wall of like, I cause pain for fun. I'm the one who does that. But as we've seen from him, like that, those previous emotions, and talking about how you can go crazy here and that you need to let go of that human part of you. You've got to, like, that survival instinct. He's doing what he can to stay sane here. Again, I'm not in any way falling into that pitfall of, but no, I think if he really shows us the good in him, like, it's not that surface level, it's not that simple, but I really feel like he's talking more to himself here. Like, who are you really trying to convince of this, Jax? And he very clearly is leaning into the, I'm going to show you the worst parts of me so you don't look for anything else for any good. Not because it's not there, but because I'm going to hurt you so badly, I'm going to push you away so badly that you don't even want to look for it. You don't even want to know me. And he just twists everything. If I led you on, it was intentional. I did that on purpose to make this part hurt more, kind of thing. Okay, pardon the intermission, I say, as it's like at the very end of the episode, but I nearly made it in time, but I just couldn't finish the episode before I had to go out for dinner. So I am back now and my voice is a little gone from talking, so we're just gonna have to deal with that. But okay, let's finish this off. I actually wrote down the exact timestamp that I was at because I kind of had to leave pretty quickly, almost mid-thought, but as soon as I saw the timestamp, I went to it. I instantly remembered what thought I was in the middle of. I saw this face, I knew immediately where we were picking up from, and that is the fact that he almost phrased it as a question. It's the same thing as the probably. He keeps couching any hint of a real feeling in such qualifying language, like probably, and now instead of saying, and I led you on, just so that this hurts more now. He said if, and if I led you on, then it was because this. It reminds me of like in old fairy tales like Fae, real fairies, not book talk fairies, that are tricksters and they often can't lie. So they'll use really wordy language to get around that, or word something as a question. Like instead of saying you're detestable, they might say looking detestable as ever, meaning you don't look detestable at all. But the way it's worded hides the fact that it's a mistruth by sounding like you're declaring something, but you're actually, you know what I mean. I'm not saying that's what he's doing, but that's what his language reminds me of, talking around it. Like, if I led you on, it would be to make it hurt more. Not saying that he did. And just his facial expressions throughout this episode are just sending me. These are the moments where he's trying so hard to convince himself. It's like physically paining him. Like, he's off the rails. And that scene immediately followed by this, like the continuing motif of turning away only for the facial expression to falter or twitch or completely fall and change into something else. Like, he holds it and just his eye twitching, only to then fall when he has his little outburst of swearing, just fuck. And this is what I mean about him. Obviously, I'm not excusing his actions. I'm not affirming the thoughts he expressed of what you see these little moments and you're trying to justify, like you think, you know, I secretly care about you. Well, I don't. I'm not saying, no, look, he really does care. He's never done anything wrong. I mean it more as, oh, I think Pomni would be well within her rights to, it's probably smart actually, excluding whatever's about to happen. Because, I don't know, maybe he has a breakthrough. But after what he just said to her, the way he just treated her throughout that whole interaction. If I was her, I've done all I can do. I'm out. If you're not going to be in this, if you're not going to let me help you, if you're not going to help yourself, I'm not sticking around to be treated that way kind of thing. This is not, you're not a friend I want to have. I would not be at all, like, judging Pomni if that's how she decided to move on from this. She got her closure there of what would you do if I abstracted? Okay. Okay. And then with one last Hail Mary, attacked him, trying to get some kind of reaction. But after all of this, I think the onus is on him. The ball would be in his court to, you know, make any kind of effort. But with all that being said, I think he's really just shown his hand here in a lot of ways with the outburst and the way he's been so unhinged about it. And then after all that, to turn around and just, like, expel a curse. Fuck. And then his face just falling, that empty look in his eyes, sadness even. Then looking down at that hand, the hand he was looking at before, after he pushed Pomni away with that hand. Maybe looking at the blood on his hands, the same motif as earlier, but looking at that hand and just trembling and just screaming fuck again and kicking that thing away, just letting it all out. I feel like that's almost disproved everything he said. He's standing there, like, panting after releasing all of that, kind of like how he told Pomni to earlier, letting all the anger and anguish out. And he just looks so defeated. I know it's not really the right time for it, but it does kind of go back to Pomni bringing it out in people because she gives them the space to have those quiet moments. And I think you could say this was one of them, in her just letting him get it all out and just, like, sitting there on the floor, maybe in shock as well, or, like, not knowing what to do, but kind of let him go through the motions and come out the other side, and he looks so tired and defeated and, you know, just doubling down on everything that, I don't know, he's trying to get her to believe, which, even if you don't believe it, because, I mean, I don't, he's clearly bullshitting as we know, but if someone is trying this hard, even if it's a lie, to push you away and keep you away, then sometimes the safest thing to do for yourself is just accept that at face value. Even if it's not true, even if they know it's not true and you know it's not true, if that's what you're putting forward and that's where you're, like, leaving things, it's like, okay, I will have to accept that. So I'm very interested to see where their dynamic goes going forward. I think there's still hope for, I mean, them, as in, I don't want Pomni to have to put in any more effort to try. I want Jax to maybe regret the way he handled this, or maybe there'll be events that will make him realize maybe he does need other people in some capacity, or maybe this is him, I don't want to jinx it, maybe this is him on the road to abstraction, which I don't want, but maybe one of the principal cast is going to abstract at some point, and at this point, I think Jax is clearly the closest to getting there. Oh, damn it.
There's nothing more to me. So please, just stop looking.
I knew he was gonna say that. Oh, he looked so tired. Oh my. Man, he's looking chopped right now. He's so empty. He just drained of, I don't know, I don't think he has any fight left in him to, if he didn't walk away right here, I think he would have crumbled, maybe, to keep the facade up, like he's gotta go now. But just the pleading note in his voice saying, you know, there's nothing more to me. Please stop looking. Like, he's hanging on by a thread here. And in order to maintain his composure, he does need her to stop trying to get to know him, which is so ironic because he could have avoided all of this. In approaching her, he brought this on, and I think part of him did want some kind of connection, like the way they were chatting so easily during softball and all of these moments. I think he was deluding himself into thinking, one, it meant nothing, and two, that he didn't want that. Because I think if he let himself even think about enjoying it or having a good time, like he can't let himself believe that. It wasn't until Pomni really hugged him earlier that he was like, oh, shut down. We gotta, mayday, this is going down. Almost pleading with her to just stop looking, stop trying to, you know, find deeper layers to him. Again, on that expectations thing. Like, I don't want to have to live up to any expectations, so I'd rather you just see the worst in me and leave it at that. Stop looking for any good. Oh. Fuck.
Looking.
He even walks away sadly. Poor Pomni. Yep. Bookending it. But no, I just wanted to see if there was anything significant in like the posters or anything, but I don't think there is. Not big enough to see anyway. But favorite character awards, we've got some NPCs in the audience. Love to see it. I wonder, I mean, after all that, I wonder who's going to get favorite character award. What should not be any of them? Like, what if it's a Mr. what's his name? Disappearing guy or something? I mean, can I vote for Gummy Goo? Maybe? But I'm trying to think outside the box. It could be, what if it's Bubble or something? Does it have to be favorite character as in like player character? Maybe it's one of the orb guys. Or maybe it's just Zooble because Kane seems to like Zooble the most. I wonder. Oh, babe. Oh. Let's... Oh!
Hey,
I have something
feel
I-
like
You can
No,
speak
you
first.
go. Let's talk after the show.
Yeah, sounds good.
Where's Jax? No, this is so sad. Like, the person he's hurting the most in all of this is himself. Honestly, keeping people at arm's length like that and shutting himself off from everyone. Like, look at his face. If anything, I mean, I think Pomni was right on the money, but if anything, wouldn't this bring you closer to abstraction? I don't know what Kaufmo was really going through. We didn't really learn about it. I don't know what Rupert was going through. But I feel like I remember them being shut up in their room more often or something. Maybe that was just Kaufmo. And maybe it was just that episode that Kaufmo wasn't feeling well. I know it was, we had just learned about these characters, we just met them. So I didn't really have a frame of reference, but I don't know. I feel like maybe that's not entirely true because Queenie abstracted. Maybe it is something else, but I just feel like if you were hanging out and, you know, maybe he feels like he can't though. I was going to say maybe at least pretending like everything's okay is what was keeping him going, but after what happened with Pomni, I don't think he can pretend it's okay anymore because I don't think she'd let him get away with that, even if she didn't say anything. I feel like the look on her face would be so sad. I don't think he'd be able to resist like feeling bad about it, or I think even if he doesn't regret speaking to her that way or treating her that way, which I think he does, even if he doesn't regret that, I think he regrets how things ended up because he can't pretend that everything's okay anymore. He can't joke around with Pomni anymore. Maybe he can, but I don't think so. Things can never go back to the exact way that they were before. And I don't know, I don't want this to, but this could put him on a bad path, isolating him even further. Man, that sucks. Oh, and it looked like he wanted to go over there. And the look in his eyes, he decided on something in that moment and then he walked and sat over there. And you can read so much into this. Like, he's gone and sat over, like, in part of the crowd with all the other NPCs. And you could take that as, like, I don't know, some hint towards losing himself, towards abstraction, or even just that choice to not sit with everyone, even though it looked like he wanted to. That look on his face, it could be deciding to stay away from them because he knows that if he's with them or with Pomni, then slowly but surely real parts of himself will start to come out and he can't have that. Or he's staying away because he doesn't want... I know he said he doesn't care about her, he doesn't care about anyone in the circus, and I'm not even going to say that 100% sure that's false. I don't think it's true that he doesn't care, but even if we were to take his words at somewhat face value, that it's not like he truly, you know, cares and wants to get to know them and be friends with them. Like, I'm not entirely unconvinced that he does want that or those things, or I don't know, but I don't think he would want them to abstract or to get hurt. So if he truly blames himself, we are seeing a theme of that. The way Jax was presented in this episode and the sequence of events alludes to that. Kinga also talking about self-blame, especially I think about Queenie abstracting. Ragatha talking about self-blame. It seemed to be a big theme of this episode. So if he does think that maybe his proximity is a catalyst for abstraction, maybe he's removing himself for that. It hurts, man. And the fact that even after all that, Pomni was still looking back, looking for him to come join them. Ugh, I think she knows he's self-sabotaging, and I mean, what really can she do at this point? Except, you know, look back and he's not sitting with them, so okay, I understand. Woo! Let's go!
Ladies and gentlemen,
And
it's time for the favorite
non-binary folks too.
character
Come on.
awards. Before anything starts, I'd like to thank the committee for examining our nominees and
Yeah, who is
voting
the
on our
committee?
winners.
Is it the fans? Oh.
Shut up.
I've seen that. Oh, I was going to say, I wonder if the committee, as it's been referred to, is actually a fourth wall break for the fans, because I know we could vote on the Wacky Watch website, or whether it is just this VIP group of mannequins who loves Kane. But I've seen this as a GIF or as like people's profile pictures or a reaction image, and I thought it was an edit with the blush. I didn't know it was actually from the show. The very tsundere energy from him right now is crazy.
But what's an award show without honorable mentions and subcategories? That's right, it's bad. Unlike my show, which is good.
Is he gonna throw up? No, he's not. He's not obstructing. Please just be a panic attack.
God, he looks stupid.
That's the thing, before running to the bathroom and looking like he was gonna... He looked like he was about to cry here. And again, these moments that we get where he's just real and like talking to himself, it reminds me of earlier in the episode when he's talking about, you know, we're a cartoon character, and he nearly lets it slip talking about himself, like, and you're just a stupid cartoon jester. And he often makes jokes about how he's the peak of masculinity and he loves his tail and this and that. Always joking about that. But I think his appearance maybe really does affect him. I mean, he was furious about the maid outfit, about looking ridiculous. And just in general, looking at himself, the whole facade dropping, God, you look stupid. I can't tell if he means that purely in the physical sense, or whether he means like talking to himself, like egg on his face, like, you look so stupid acting the way you are right now, like, what are you doing, kind of thing. Oh, we're almost done. Oh, I'm really scared for him.
God, he looks stupid.
Who's there?
And the award for biggest...
I didn't know he was actually going to show up in this episode. I mentioned favourite character. I was just trying to think outside the box. Is he going to win an award? But oh, I don't like the look on Jax's face. He's just getting more and more defeated by the moment.
And the award for biggest sailor mouth goes to Zubul.
Yeah, that's fair. Were they holding stupid sauce? I know that, wait, yeah, they put the stupid sauce in their eye. I mean, I know they asked for it earlier, like, do you have any of that stupid sauce? I thought they meant for Kane. Maybe that wouldn't work, but I didn't even consider they meant it for themselves. Honestly, you kind of need that to get through an award show sometimes. Yikes.
All right, folks, it's now the moment you've all been waiting for. The award for favorite character. Bubble, give me a drum roll. And the award for favorite character goes to... Why, it's me, everyone! Oh, wait, I misread that. It's Ming.
I'm gonna give myself that. I mean, not really, but that's so funny. I was trying to think outside the box. I guessed both Disappearing Guy, which kind of a lateral move from Ming, or I was like, maybe Bubble? Maybe it's gonna be like a non-player character. So Kane, and I know Kane and Bubble are either like Bubble's part of Kane or an extension of him. I don't know, but I was kind of close. I didn't get it, but one little pat on the back. But that Ming Oh my fucking god. Ugh, all my homies love Ming. But my heart is hurting. It makes me so sad. I mean, seeing Pomni look back for Jax. And even Ragatha, I mean, I know she says she hates him, but I think we all know, and I think she's shown that she does actually care about him, even if it's just the sense of like that pain of losing someone. Like, you know, you knew them kind of, but they become a different person and it's almost mourning the loss of what could have been, what friendship could have been. It could even just be that, but I think she wants him to be well. I think if she didn't think he hated her, I think she might feel differently. But even still, I think there's little moments like this that show she does care about the people around her, and I think Jax is not excluded from that, especially how upset she got earlier talking about him and alluding to what happened. I think part of it is, rather than being fully angry at him, I mean, obviously that's there with the way things kind of devolve between them, but I think it's partly being angry at herself for letting it happen, like feeling a misplaced responsibility over that when it's not her fault. But when Pomni was looking back sadly, like trying to find him and then seeing him, and like Ragatha almost checks in and Pomni's sort of It makes me think that maybe they quickly chatted about it in the theatre, or maybe it's an unspoken thing, like Ragatha kind of can feel what's going on and Pomni's non-verbally confirming, like, it's not looking good.
You shouldn't have assumed you won the award. Now we both look foolish.
You guys, what the fuck? Wait, and don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I've been told that this is the one episode, or maybe from here on, but unlike previous episodes, there is end credit scenes here. I mean, I always check, just in case anyway, and I can confirm that there is, so... Oh, I'm scared.
Alrighty. Now, let's see how many of them voted for me.
I mean, first of all the other NPCs are gone. Is that the NPC who's been hanging around the circus? And if so, does Kane know about it? Because he's obviously seeing them there, but maybe he just assumes that all NPCs are beneath his notice kind of thing, and that NPC is just doing what I programmed, blah blah blah. But maybe it's the one who infiltrated the circus. I don't know if this is the full ballad or not, but if it is, did he just take Zubul off and put himself there? Or is Zubul somewhere else? I mean, I feel like this is pretty consistent. Maybe this is like an inside joke about ratio of actual fan votes or something, but I feel like Pomni and Kinga are right up there. Like, I can imagine they're fan favorites. I love Pomni so much. Ragatha and Jax both play very similar roles, and I think people like and dislike them in different ways based on different flaws and character growth that they're going through. So I think that's a fair amount. I think if this was post episode 4, straight after, I think maybe Gengar would have more votes. But I think we didn't see a lot of them last episode, so I can imagine they might have faded a little bit in the public consciousness. Where's Zubul? And no votes for Kane, of course. But this was trippy. Like, you're not a character, Kane. Stop pretending you are. I mean, I don't know what Ming was doing on there either, but weird. Okay, well, it is getting supremely late. I'm emotionally drained and broken and beaten down after that. I think I have said all that I can really say. I'm sure I could quite literally talk about this for many more hours. Like, each little point that I stopped at, I could just have so much more to say. But I think that's a sufficient amount for now. I can't wait to read your comments about this one, because last episode was probably, I don't know, because my Hell of a Boss series, especially maybe the second or the season 2 installments anyway, were my favorite, but last episode might have been my favorite thing that I've done, because it was just I just had so much fun talking about it, and just as much fun reading all of your comments about it, because it was so interesting to see your thoughts, some of your theories for where you think it's going, or for those of you who have seen it, if there's anything to, keep an eye out for in this episode. I feel like I've just stared off into space for like an hour's worth of the raw footage, because I'm just, this is shaking me to my core. Okay, well, I need to go. I have to be up early for work tomorrow, so I will leave things there. I'm not looking forward to editing this, but I am looking forward to hearing your thoughts. So, I can't wait. but I also don't want to witness this again through editing, so I'm gonna procrastinate. But yeah, anyway, that's where I'll leave things today. I'm so exhausted, but I hope you enjoyed. I don't know if I did. I mean, obviously I did, but I don't know what I'm feeling. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.